All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Are we
okay?
live?
Yeah, you're not getting double
good.
feedback from me, are you?
Hear you good.
Fantastic.
Why is it? Okay. What's up, guys? I think we are live. Let's assume we're live. And welcome back to the Drinking Buddies. Today we're doing Prohibition cocktails. Vino, do you want to give us a crash course on what that is for the folks back home?
I mean, basically, it's cocktails that were invented during Prohibition, and what happens with a lot of those, because booze was illegal, and a lot of the booze that was being made at the time was moonshine or bathtub. They used to call it bathtub booze. It was really bad. So that's when they started introducing things like juice and mint and stuff into cocktails to really kind of mask. Pineapple juice became a big deal to kind of mask the flavor of these spirits. So that's where we've got.
I think a lot of I've read a little bit about Prohibition over the years, Prohibition cocktails specifically. I think a lot of the cocktail makers of the time, were basically left the U.S. because they couldn't create. It was illegal. They couldn't do anything here. So a lot of these cocktails were created in France, in England, in Cuba, in places where people could go to and drink.
Yeah, I mean the Savoy, like places in England especially, where a lot of great bartenders of our American bartenders went out there and made a killing.
Yeah,
made a killing.
Now the good thing about Prohibition, there was nothing really good about it. However, they did call it the Great Experiment. Yes. And the good thing about an experiment was
Tim,
how do you get everybody that's drinking to stop drinking? Well, they tried to mandate it as law. Unfortunately, that didn't work. One of the things that managed to do was to make the associated neighboring countries into distillers and illegal importers. It was huge in Canada, right? That's where the term the real McCoy came from, because it had to do with the seals and the specific type of booze that was brought into the country. Right? So,
well, I read something about the real McCoy. I don't know how much truth is to that, but apparently, so the guy on here, what's his name, Captain Bill McCoy. He was one of these rum runners who was bringing illegal booze into the U.S. and he was going to the Caribbean islands and getting quality rum to bring back. Whereas a lot of places where, like you said, they were making like bathtub rum and bathtub booze and trying to pass that off as quality rum, which clearly it wasn't. So that's what the term, the real McCoy, people wanted. I don't want this bathtub shit. I want the real McCoy, the real Caribbean rum that came on the boat all the way from the Caribbean islands. So that was like where that term comes from. A lot of these stories get embellished, so who knows?
Yeah.
if there's any truth to it, but
quite possibly. Now there is,
Sean?
Interestingly, and Vino will probably touch on this later because he loves his history. What was the specific rules around booze during Prohibition?
Well, there was still things like you could use it for medicinal purposes and stuff, and that's where things like a lot of the bitters and stuff were being used also for that, and amaros also. So anything that was fortified, considered that it could be used for stomach ailments and stuff like that. So a lot of people were getting away with shit like that. But the crazy thing about the Prohibition is that Prohibition is what made the American mafia as powerful as it was, because prior to that it wasn't as powerful. And then Prohibition just blew the doors open for them. And they had this whole entire racket that they could run now. And, guys like Al Capone and shit took advantage of it. They became multi-millionaires from that.
I'm sure everyone here has seen a great film, The Untouchables, that really touches on Prohibition and Al Capone and Elliot Ness, who was the I guess he was FBI agent who was tasked with kind of taking down Al Capone's.
Yep.
Al Capone's, and one of my favorite lines from the film is at the very end, and it kind of goes to show how Elliot Ness was known as that's why his team was called the Untouchables, because they were a lot of the cops were taking bribes from the mob, and they were corrupt and letting a lot of things slide. But Elliot Ness and his gang were incorruptible, and they were taking down all these illegal booze places. And at the end of the film, after they capture Al Capone, he's going to jail, and Elliot Ness is being interviewed, and one of the reporters says, "There's talk that they're gonna stop prohibition. What are you gonna do?" And he says, "Get a drink." So it's interesting how he was following the law because that was his job, but it wasn't. It's not like it was something he truly believed that alcohol should be illegal. It was just it's the law, so gotta follow it.
I mean, all the presidents were drinking alcohol and stuff. They all had like wine collections and stuff like that. So,
we've got angry.
Now, did you guys have? Hey, Andrew, did you guys have in Canada? Did you guys have prohibition as well? Was it?
No, there was never.
It was never a countrywide thing, but
because I know that they were bootlegging stuff in through Canada.
You did have counties that were dry counties, right? It's like where they make Tennessee whiskey. It is technically a dry county. Right?
I find that hilarious.
and you cannot even actually, as a visitor, taste the whiskey there at the distillery, unless you buy a very partial ownership in the distillery, which allows you to be, as an owner, you could actually test the spirit, right?
That is such a silly thing.
But I have some friends who live in Idaho, and one of them lives in a dry county as well. So it isn't completely gone, right? It just, for the most part, it's not countrywide mandated. There's still some places that still do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Canadian whiskey got so popular in the U.S. actually was because there were Canadian whiskeys coming in still because you guys were still producing it. We couldn't even produce it in this country.
Oh, yeah. Well, the legalities behind it are you could not distill or sell it except for medicinal purposes, but it was legal to actually drink it. The problem is nobody could sell it to you. Yeah, and that's how people made a ton of money.
There's actually in the movie Untouchables, there's a funny anachronism where they Elliot Ness and his team they stop a shipment of whiskey coming in from Canada, and I guess the filmmakers wanted to illustrate that these crates of whiskey bottles were coming from Canada, so they were these big wooden crates, and they had the maple leaf painted on the side, but at the time the maple leaf was not the emblem of Canada, so that is it's a film mistake that they overlooked.
Huh. You know what's another great prohibition piece of media is Boardwalk Empire with it was an
I never got into that.
Oh man, it's so good.
Steve Buscemi's amazing.
Steve Buscemi, yeah. Oh man, it is incredible.
I never got into that.
Yeah, what's great about it though,
let's welcome our guest from down under. Let's welcome our guest Andrew from down under.
And I am down under.
Yes.
Andrew,
how you doing?
Andrew, did you guys have?
If you want to see him properly, you got to do this.
Yeah. Okay, I hope you guys appreciate I'm literally suspended from my ceiling just so I look the right way up to you. The blood's going to run to my head.
Keep inviting you back, Andrew.
That's right. He's going to be making cocktails later. It's going to flow like that.
Yeah, I know. The glass up. You always used to make fun of me for holding it in front.
Yeah, holding it.
So I have to hold it out here.
Hey, Andrew, did you
make
guys
the cocktails upside down?
We never had prohibition, but like you're saying about dry counties, we don't have counties, but some areas had alcohol restrictions. And we certainly had very repressive licensing laws. Like for the longest time, pubs had to shut at 6 p.m. And so there was the notorious, like working men getting off work and just trying to jam beer down their throat.
Because they only got 1 hour to do it.
Yeah, but there was also what was called the 6 o'clock swill. It was like the five minutes leading up to 6 o'clock when it was your last chance to get a drink. Guys would just be running up and just pouring a drink down their neck and screaming to get another one, and it was weird.
That still happens now at 2
a.m.
They still do it now.
Yeah,
it's funny how like
happy hour comes from, right? So the idea of happy
probably
hour, buy two at once so you can just smack them back.
Yeah,
fantastic.
It's to convince guys to stop in at a bar on their way home from work. if you come in after work, I'll give
Yeah.
you 2 drinks for the price of one.
Mm-hmm.
But it was common at one time. People would go on their lunch and they'd go have a drink with their meal, right? And they'd go home. Before they went home, they'd go have a drink with a couple of their friends, either people from the team or work buddies, and you know what? They'd go have a drink. Then they'd go home to marital bliss, right?
Well, this
So-
was, remember, that's where the term three martini lunch was coined from. You know,
Yes.
people would go out on lunch, they'd have 3 martinis, do business, whatever the case might be, and
That's crazy. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
imagine
no, it's nuts.
having
It's
3
nuts.
martinis and then I've had 3 martinis, but it's having 3 martinis and then going back to work. I'm
Yeah,
going to be
well-
useless at work afterwards.
when you work in the industry, it's not too uncommon to like be drinking and working. Like it's just kind of part of the
Yeah, yeah.
process. But I can imagine, but if you have like a regular office job, man, and you have 3 martinis in the middle of the day, that's got to be something to go back to the office.
Oh,
I
my
don't know how
God,
you
yeah.
function.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go.
I
I can go have one. I can go and have one. You know, I've done this many times working. When I was working, since pandemic, I'm working from home. But when I used to work in an office, I'd go at lunch occasionally and go. I'll go out for lunch and have a drink. I can have 1 cocktail, maybe even 2, and be okay. But you pass 2, that second half of that workday is not productive.
Well, it's not even that. You know, you're getting into a vehicle and you're driving somewhere. It's unsafe. So
No,
that's why
exactly,
we don't
yeah.
drink and drive, and why we don't do it.
I would usually
We've
bust to
learned
work,
since then. We've
but
learned.
but still, you
Or at least Rob hasn't.
what's that?
At least you haven't learned since then. That's why you work from home now, because
That's
way
where I work from.
you can have a beer in the middle of the day. But we also have to remember.
Hey,
that
my
at one
literally,
time-
I've got the bar here, and my desk is like 10 feet that way, as it should be.
So what is everybody
right.
drinking tonight? Put in the comments what you're drinking tonight. So, all right, Rob, he asked, do New York City bars still close for like 10 minutes at 2 a.m.?
Last call.
No, they close at they do it at 4 a.m. Yeah. Correct me if they close for 15 minutes. No, that's like old traditional shit. They don't really do that anymore. Nobody does that.
They used to what? Sorry, they used
some
to.
bars. Well, some bars, what they'll do, or they did it. Most bars did it for a while. They stopped serving for like 15 minutes before actual last call, just to get people kind of in that mindset that hey, it's time to stop drinking and stuff like that. But it's not too. New York City is still a boozy, city, boozy town, but it's much more because of the craft cocktail scene. It's just not like a get hammered type of place anymore. People come, they have a few $50 cocktails, and they're usually done after that. Like, we're good.
Now you go back to the ye old ancient days of when Vino and I were from. The last call for us, I worked in a little hick bar in a little town, and last call was 2:00. Now that time really hasn't changed in Ontario. However, last call was that moment where the 10 or 15 minutes before you'd start getting everybody would double fist it so that they could finish their drinks while you're closing the bar down, because then you just relax, and then everybody that's working has a chance to have a drink afterwards, right? So by then the customers are all out, they've all double fisted it, had their beer, they've stumbled out their way, and picked their fights and done everything they're gonna do.
So what do we have? Hey, PJ's in the house. We got, of course, Iceman.
Rob Velaz is having a Glenmorangie tail golf.
Tim, of course, Tim, our buddy Damo's in the house. All right, we got a nice audience. We got Trish, Victor, Chronix.
Do you know what you didn't do there, Rob? You didn't
What I
introduce. You didn't introduce today's episode.
I did.
He did.
We did.
Was I?
Yeah, I said
I didn't
welcome to
know
episode
I haven't
13,
had anything to drink
Prohibition.
yet.
I think you were having a little moment there.
I haven't had anything to drink. I'm having a senior's moment.
All right, so since you haven't had anything to drink, Dave, why don't you start off making the first Prohibition cocktail? So we are making Prohibition cocktails today. All these cocktails were created, or at least said to be created, during the 1920s, which was the Prohibition era. And these are going to probably be pretty familiar to you guys, whether or not you've had them. That I cannot
Classic mojito.
confirm.
Yeah,
So
a lot
what's-
of these. I mean, I found in my research you'd find a lot of conflicting information. So because the history of some of these are so divisive, and some say they, this hotel created, no, this hotel created in this year, no, it was this year. So we do our best.
It was an illegal. It was an illegal practice, right? So unless it was invented in Europe, and then the problem with that is that the information coming across the ocean might be changed 500 times before it gets here.
Well, and it's the good old telephone game.
What drink I'm going to make?
Yeah,
What
are you making?
Andrew, because he's our guest. However, he's our guest, so it should be Andrew. But I am going to make my first cocktail as soon as Rob gets it up there.
All right.
Now, I'm going to break down and go with.
I had it in the order of Vino, me, you. So Vino, you screwed up the order.
But Dave needed his drink, so there you go.
He needed his drink.
I don't really need my drink. However, we are starting with a last word because I like to get the last word in any argument that I have. And we're going to start that, of course.
That should have been the last cocktail.
Say that again?
That should have been the last cocktail we made.
Well, it should have been, but, unfortunately, Rob is doing everything outside of order, like normal. And we're going to use green chartreuse. I'm almost completely out, but I saved some just for this video.
So the cool thing about the last word, I don't know if Dave, if you want to share any history of it or not, but I have a little bit because it's my favorite category. Well, top 3 category of spirit.
Yep, absolutely. This is an equal measures cocktail, and there's so many variations, including stuff like the paper airplane, the South Side. You can build anything as long as you can make the flavors go together.
Yeah,
and there's so many good ones that you can just absolutely work with.
And the thing about the cocktail is that it disappeared for decades, and then a bartender in Seattle, I think Murray Stetson, at this place called the Zigzag Club, or Zigzag Bar, or some shit like that, he put it back on the menu, and it just took off. It became. He just passed away this year, maybe during the holidays. Maybe.
That's a nice little flip there.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
What? You like my smile?
I do.
So you made me mess up there, bro. So, and of course.
Oh, Sean, what did you? I missed the comment. What did you make? Is it posted on IG? What was it?
I'm not sure.
Oh, the bounty. Yeah, actually, I saw that. Yeah, and you had some Mandalorian music.
So, if you guys if you guys are fans of the last word, do you have a last word riff that you guys like to drink? Is there one? There's so many. I actually got a video that I did with Alchemix Bar. Do you guys have a last word riff that you absolutely love?
I forget. I forget the name of mine, but it was one with mezcal, and it was really good.
My favorite is the Electric Circus.
Electric Circus. What's that one, Dave?
What's that one?
Okay, now I gotta actually look up how I wrote it out. This sounds really sad, but it's one of my favorite flavors.
There's so many. You can't remember every recipe, brother.
Yeah, well, 600 cocktails later, right?
Exactly. Even your favorites you could forget.
Oh no, you know what? It's just and my internet's gone down. Anyways, it's called an Electric Circus. It's absolutely fantastic.
Interesting. I wonder what that one is.
I'll look that up.
Yeah, Rob, look that up.
As well.
Electric Circus cocktail.
Yeah.
The Electric Circus.
I made the Division Bell. Division Bell the other day. I think that's the one with mezcal that you might be thinking of, Rob.
Yeah, that's really good.
What's it called?
Division Bell.
I don't know. That name doesn't sound familiar, but there's been a few that I've seen with mezcal.
There's been a few with mezcal. There's the Ultima Palabra, which is also a mezcal.
Yes.
My favorite is
Dave.
Rob, I found, man, have you had my favorite word? My favorite last word? I think you would love
Which
it
one?
Because it's got fucking Smith and Cross. Speaking of Smith and Cross. It's that time, boys. Let's do it.
Smith and Cross.
I should have had it.
Become the official sponsor of Drinking Buddies, please. Send us free bottles. We'll be happy with that.
We don't even need money. Just send us free bottles. Give us a tap.
So an interesting one that's come up though, there is a non-alcoholic version of a last word. It's called the No Word. I saw it recently on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no
I
words.
thought you were going to say it's a non-alcoholic version of Smith & Cross coming out. I was like, wait, what?
I don't know
Smith
how
and
that would
Sad.
work. The Smith cross, no, but
Smith
eventually,
Sad
and
It's called Smith
yeah,
and Sad.
that's right. And I made mine slightly differently because I didn't use the Chinese bitters in the Electric Circus.
So mine, Rob, mine is called the Wordsmith. Let me see. It's with Smith & Cross. Let me get the exact specs. It's bold.
Someone said that
It is super bold and in your face.
William
It's basically-
Johnson's here's sorry. William Johnson says it's hard to hear the other guests. Which ones are we talking about? Can we all let us know, guys? Is the audio good on everyone? I can always adjust.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let us know, guys, if you can hear the rest of us clearly, not faintly.
Dave's a bit
And if any-
quiet.
and if anyone's
Robin and Vino are fine.
And if
Yeah,
anyone's
they
too
sound good on
loud
mine.
or anything, I can tweak. I can't fix your individual audio, but I can tweak how loud the guests are. So
Yeah.
let me know. All right, Dave, give us some tasting notes on your last word.
Fantastic. Actually, you know what? One of the things I really like about it is the green chartreuse really shines hand in hand with the gin. Now, I use my Heritage Spirits gin, which is a really smooth, easy to drink with just light juniper notes. However, you get the sweetness from the maraschino liqueur, which really just kind of pushes it and gives us a little bit of earthiness to come directly with the herbal notes from the chartreuse. And you know what? A little bit of lemon just to smooth and balance it out. Well, lime, I should say. I can't tell my colors apart, you know, whatever. You know, it's lime,
And
actually.
I think I had mentioned my recent sherry video. I talked about the last word a bit. How to me, what I find amazing about it is that it's an equal parts cocktail that is really well balanced. And a lot of times, like I had made on that video, I made one that was an equal parts cocktail, and it was like it was way too much lemon. There wasn't enough this, and like it wasn't balanced. And it's like, you know, it's fun. It's fun to be able to create as a cocktail like creator. It's fun to be able to come up with an equal parts drink because it's so easy to remember. But it's hard to get it properly balanced. You know, most of the time you're just gonna have way too much citrus. But the last word is an example of such a well balanced cocktail that has equal parts of everything.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. It's just an amazing.
You're very welcome, Iceman.
You know what's interesting though?
Amontillado.
Last word riffs aren't always equal parts.
No.
Yep.
No,
I think they should be though.
They should be. They should. If that's what makes the last word technically a last word. Those kind of those riffs on it where they kind of don't do equal parts. You know, to me, it's more like I don't know. It's the spiritual. You know,
I think you had made a riff recently that to me it was equal parts, but I think there was no citrus. And I'm like, that's weird because to me those are to make it a last word riff. It's like equal parts, but also you got to kind of be in the same vein of drink. You know?
Yeah. Look, I mean, what qualifies a riff, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that we clearly define that.
Apparently, a martini riff just has to be in the same vessel. That's
it, right? Think about it.
You can
right?
put whatever you want.
And
you put ice cream in it.
And old fashioned is whiskey, sugar, bitters, right? But and a Manhattan is basically a spirit and a modifier. But it could be that could be anything, dude. That could be anything.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you can call it whatever you want. I remember making my winter old fashioned. It was my first year of my channel, and the first Christmas I had made the winter old fashioned, and it wasn't my recipe. I found it online, but it had a half an ounce of port in it. And some snob comes along and goes, "That's not an old fashioned. That's a Manhattan riff." I'm like, I don't care. That's what the name is.
but a good riff is just a variation using something as a base template.
Yeah.
And depending on who you talk to, they'll say there's 6 basic cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of them. You know, they'll talk about the old fashioned, the margarita, or the daiquiri. You know, stuff like that. And
that's why I like the Cocktail Codex book. That's why it's a really nice book because it shows those base drinks and then all the branches. It's really cool.
Yeah. But even that, I mean, if you really look at that, like it's a bit of a stretch sometimes, in terms of how they try to fit something into this like neat little box. Like it's like cooking, right? Like you can't, you can't put it in a box. Like food, it varies from culture to culture, within the culture.
Yeah.
It's all food, and this is all cocktails. But there's too many different ways to make drinks for it to be like, it starts with these 6.
Yeah.
Like if you try to categorize food, then pie is technically a sandwich.
Yeah. But even bread. How many different things that have no relationship to each other are called bread?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
because bread is awesome.
Categorization is useful, but you got to lighten up a bit.
Yeah.
If you try to force boundaries, you'll always get something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
And a good example too of pie, Rob, is that even if you take away like the bread, I'm talking about like pumpkin pie and apple pie should not both be pies, right? They're making there's nothing similar about them except they're made in a round dish.
Well, they're more similar than pizza. We still call that a pie.
That's what I mean. So no, but think about it. So like it's the confusion there.
No, that's the deep dish pizza, the Chicago deep dish pizza.
That's a casserole. That's a casserole. Chicago deep dish is a casserole. It's not a pizza.
It comes out of a raised dish. You got to get your food terms right there, Rob.
Yeah.
But
if you ask for a pie in Australia, you're going to get a pastry that's full of minced beef and gravy. That's a pie.
That's fantastic.
If you went somewhere and said with no qualifier, do you serve pies? And they said yes. What they're going to bring you is a pastry with meat in it.
I think we got.
And Tim asked the most important question here: is a hot dog a sandwich?
That's the big one. No, okay, a hot dog's a taco because the container's going around it and the filling's there.
So that means the Germans invented tacos.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Wait till the Mexicans find out. Wait till the Mexicans find that out.
And of course, you can ruin that if you actually just cut the hot dog bun into 2 separate pieces. Then it's a sandwich.
Yes.
Then it's a sandwich. So if it's like shitty hot dog buns, make it a sandwich.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I'm going to go now.
Yeah, go.
We'll go to Andrew. No, Andrew should go.
It's okay. It's the middle of the day, and I was up till 2 a.m. I don't think I'm going to drink alcohol.
He's just here for good times.
He'll be here.
Look, I'll do a shot of the sponsor at some point.
So hold the shot until we do our shots. Hold the shot until we do our shot.
All right, you're doing the Mary Pickford.
Rob, I'm going to do Mary Pickford.
Mary Pickford.
Which of these Prohibition cocktails? I've actually never had a Mary Pickford, so this is.
Oh, you've never had it? I don't think I've had it either.
This will even be new to me, so I'm pretty excited to see what it's all about. I mean, when I look at the ingredients, I'm like, this was made to hide bad rum.
Pretty
this
much.
Is made to hide bad
That much
rum.
pineapple juice.
Grenadine.
That's a lot of pineapple
juice, an ounce and a half, and this is the recipe that is pretty common throughout.
And this was probably made during the time where like the improved whiskey cocktail was made, where bartenders got their hands on some maraschino and they're just trying to put it in everything.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. I mean, I do love maraschino though, so I'm excited.
It is good, but
it's my shit.
I just find it funny how a lot of the cocktails from that period, they're just bar spoon of maraschino everywhere, just every drink.
Because it's so
powerful, right?
It gives you that alcohol flavor that you need. So
yeah,
and it hides everything.
No,
I bet you that's why. Listen, that's why I bet you the last word was created to hide bad gin.
Actually, a lot of cocktails were actually created to modify a spirit that was really rough. That's why if you think about
Vino, you've inspired Iceman.
What's he doing?
He's going to find his shittiest rum and make this cocktail.
But truthfully, you had to modify a lot of the spirits to make them palatable. Right? You know what I mean? They weren't exactly smooth and charcoal filtered and triple pot still distilled, right?
Yeah.
Nicholas is saying that the Mary Pickford is one of his favorites.
All right, Nicholas, I'm looking forward to trying it out.
Rum and pineapple go together. A little bit of added sweetness from the grenadine.
Yeah, and it's why punches were so popular for so long, because the actual base ingredients were terrible, and they were, we'll get you drunk, but we'll add some tea and some sugar, and Yeah, that's much
some
better.
some citrus, some fruit.
Yeah.
That's basically what that tipsy bartender does, right? Just
Yeah.
Well, he
Actually,
puts,
you want to
he puts a
know?
whole cake in the thing to mask the flavor.
You want to know my theory about where milk clarification was discovered? This is my theory. Someone's in a tavern and they're mixing up a big punch to go out thing, and then some idiot's walking behind them with a jug of milk, and they bump into them and like drops the jug of milk into the thing, and it like curdles, and it's going, "You goddamn idiot! I've got to serve this punch tonight. Holy shit!" And the person goes, "Look, here's a cheesecloth. Just drain it through, and that'll get rid of all the curdled milk." And it's like, "Oh, God damn it. What's wrong with you?" And they poured it through and it came out the other end and they tasted it and they went, "What the fuck is this?
Well,
This is
but
incredible."
But that technique also then stayed around for a long period of time because you used it to remove all the impurities from the drinks, and you would bottle and actually store drinks that way, right?
Yeah,
You could
it's
use it to clean those tannins out of the.
I like
at least 300 years people have been doing milk clarification.
I like that your description is basically the same the Simpsons scene from how the Reese's Pieces were discovered. Where the two guys had the car crash and the one guy's eating chocolate, the other guy's eating peanut butter, and then they run into each other. Then Officer
And just
Reese's
so you
comes
know,
along and shoots them both.
Those cashew rum punches are perfect for your gathering where you have lots of people over.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with Blackstrap?
There's no
Tim was
such thing
saying-
as blackstrap.
Did you see? Did
Yeah,
you see
I thought
Carl
it was just
make that giant bat of milk punch?
I did, yeah. That was pretty epic. And he's just like got every funnel he can find. And he's,
Exactly.
Yep. No,
All
absolutely.
right, here we go, fellas. Mary Pickford.
Mary Pickford.
Vino's going to fall in love with this drink all over again.
It's nice.
Well, that's
It reminds me a lot of the French Martini. Very similar. I mean, you think about
that's
it, it's kind of the same thing.
that little bit of grenadine really
Adds a
like
nice
bumped
big
up the
cute
color, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's and the grenadine adds a little bit of that kind of berry flavor that you would get from the Chambord if you made a French martini. Good, I like it. It's nice, very nice.
You know what else works good? A King's Breakfast becomes very close to that, actually.
I can see how that would definitely mask some bad gin though, because the pineapple and the maraschino are definitely the upfront flavors.
Did you look up the history of that one at all, or?
Yeah, it's old.
It's old.
1920.
It's old.
I think it was like I believe it was made in 1923, and I don't remember the rest of the history. All right, Robbie,
you didn't do your
next,
homework,
brother.
Vino. All right, I'm gonna jump right into mine.
It's funny. I said to myself, should we just put it into? We should probably put it in the recipes if we have it in the future.
Yeah, I thought about that, and then I was too busy. Okay, so I'm doing the sidecar. I'm sure everyone, well, not everyone, but I mean, it's a pretty popular one. It's a great one. This one I've seen many different ratios. This is the one I like. I think this is the 2-1-1 ratio. I really like the tartness in this cocktail. So having that full ounce of lemon juice, I think really helps give it a nice that nice tartness.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna go for. So we'll start with 2 ounces of cognac. Of course, we're using, what's that called, Vino?
Courvoisier.
Courvoisier.
I'd rather hear Andrew say it wrong than you say it right.
Courvoisier.
I gotta do it. Crocodile Hunter style, right? Courvoisier.
Yeah, Rob, just do it. You know you want to. Just do it.
I said Courvoisier.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Courvoisier. The other thing about this one is what orange liqueur do you guys use? I use Cointreau. It's my favorite. It's not my favorite orange liqueur, but for this,
I use it 99% of the time.
For this drink, I think it's the best because if you use a dry curacao, that's like part brandy or part cognac. Actually, you're using cognac in this recipe. I don't think it's necessary to add like more cognac to it.
No, I also like the brightness, the kind of little bit of tartness that Cointreau brings.
You get a bit more sweetness too, rather than using the dry curacao.
And a good sweetness though, not like a cheap triple sec sweetness. Like cheap triple secs, like
No, I wouldn't use a low ABV triple sec like those are terrible. It's gonna be overly sweet.
I always have those on hand for cocktails. Because my wife and her sisters want margaritas, I'm not using my Cointreau.
Yeah, I know. Those are the cheap triple sec is good for friends and family that don't know cocktails.
Always have it on hand. Or when I'm experimenting with a cocktail, sometimes I'll use triple sec just so that to know. What do you got there, Andrew? What are you holding?
I was going to say, this is my go-to orange liqueur at the moment. Homemade blood orange liqueur.
Nice.
I made an oleo saccharum with blood orange peel. And then the peel, after I drained all the syrup off, I soaked that in like 95% alcohol for a couple of days and used that as the base. And so then
love the skull.
The 95% alcohol, the sugar, then some blood orange juice and some vodka to kind of top it off. So this is actually probably pretty high proof. I'm not exactly sure what the proof on this would be, but it's weirdly, it's got a little cognac flavor in it.
Does it have the bitter? Does it have those bitter notes from the blood orange that you use?
Just a little bit. It's got a little bit of the tartness from, so you can tell it's not like Valencia oranges.
Okay.
When I made my my curacao, my green curacao, but I steeped oranges in a mix of vodka and gin for about 2 weeks, and then to give that orange flavor, obviously. And then I actually added about like a half an ounce of orange bitters to it, and that added a really nice zesty bitterness. And I'm gonna serve it in a coupe, or kind of a fancy coupe here. I'm also gonna give it a sugar rim. A lot of because there's no sugar added to it. It's fairly dry. A sugar rim on a sidecar is a nice.
That's
addition.
pretty traditional. I'm kind of happy.
Absolutely.
I'm not one for rimming my drinks too much, but that's.
Well, one of the things you're going to get is you'll get, depending on the oranges you use, the oils that come out of the peel are truly going to affect a huge amount of that flavor. Of course, you'll use the juice from the pulp, but that peel, that oil, gives you something totally unique and different, right? So, and using 95% alcohol will actually draw out more of those oils and those flavors faster than if, say, you used a 40% vodka, right?
Here we go. Sidecar.
Very nice.
And I garnished with a lemon peel. Oh, this is one of my favorite drinks. I love this drink.
It's such a great cocktail.
With those ratios, and it's tart. It's that nice sugar rim it adds a little needed sweetness, but the drink itself is very fresh, very tart, very bright.
That's another one that's
really nice.
Really good to riff on. Really, really good to riff on.
Yeah. Tim said the cable car. What's that?
That's
one?
a good one.
I don't think I've tried that.
I
think I've heard of it. I've never tried it.
San Francisco invention. Yeah.
You see them going up the side.
Does anyone know the specs for that one? I'm curious.
I've had it before, but I forget.
I'm gonna look it up. Cable car.
So I think I had my first sidecar like about 8 years ago. I used to basically not drink alcohol, and
then all of a sudden,
were you a teetotaler?
Yeah. I started getting into cocktails, but it was pretty, limited, like gin and whiskey. And I don't know if someone recommended, but I ended up out one time and had a sidecar, and it was just like, God damn, this is fantastic. I didn't know.
The sidecar is actually the cocktail that got Anders into cocktails. When I interviewed him on the pub crawl, he told me that it was the sidecar that got him into it.
I remember the cocktail that gave me that same reaction. They're like, "Holy crap, that's good!" Is the Mai Tai.
Was it the Mai Tai?
First, I made it. It wasn't at a pub or anything. I made it myself. But at the time, like the only cocktails I had made for myself was martini, Manhattan, and like highballs. So nothing. So like either just highballs, which are just like rum and cokes kind of thing, and then the martini and Manhattan, which are pretty strong. So it's like, okay, I'm sipping, and I wasn't really enjoying those at the time. It was just Yeah, but then so the Mai Tai, I didn't really know what to expect. I'm like, okay, it's a tropical drink, but it's boozy, and when I made it, I was just like, holy crap, that's good. And the funny thing is, guess what rum I used? Captain Morgan. So,
Captain
not
Morgan.
Malibu, but like Captain Morgan. So I didn't even use like a proper good rum, but it was still so good. And I used like,
It
the
does
cheapest.
exactly what it needed to do.
It did exactly, and it got me into enjoying cocktails.
Captain Morgan is only a bad rum if you've had good rum. You know what I mean? Like it's that type of thing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of situation. It's not like Malibu is just like not even like that's just to me that's like it's like a candy cotton candy type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Look
I
at
mean?
this. Sorry, Rob. This needs to be on a T-shirt.
Hotel bar Mai Tai is hard to drink. I don't know. It depends where you go.
A good Mai Tai is hard to beat. A hotel Mai Tai is hard to drink.
In Hawaii, they make some. I mean, it is Hawaii, but in Hawaii, the Mai Tais are fire at the hotels.
Yeah.
As long as you know, that it is the Hawaiian Mai Tai, the one with the fruit juice.
No, but this is true. But they also make traditional Mai Tais really good.
And okay, so but if they're distinguishing them, then I have no
But
problem.
they also
it's
know
when
you
you're
have to do that. You're not going to get a good Manhattan in Hawaii, but you're going to get a fucking great tiki cocktail. That's for sure.
Well, that's it. Like I hate when you're expecting like a good Trader Vic's style OG Mai Tai, and it comes in with like orange juice and pineapple juice and stuff, and spiced rum, and it's just like, what is this? What did you do?
But you also have to remember that a lot of places will pick easier ingredients that people are going to be able to drink, right? And
sure.
Whereas us at home and everybody else watching this, you'll develop down your path and you'll find something you really, really like that might be a bit more expensive that you really enjoy the nuances of. For the average person who only drinks cocktails or tiki-style cocktails when they go on vacation, something sugary and sweet that kind of beats the heat.
Yeah.
Hey, I should coin that.
We're gonna hear that in Dave's next video. Are you looking for something sweet that beats the heat?
But
oh my God, Andrew, you were so still there for a second. I thought your video actually froze.
hey,
the equivalent of a Mai Tai in the stirred cocktail world, where you're gonna get a bad one most of the time, unless it's a really good bar, is the old fashioned.
Of course.
99% of the time, you're gonna get a pretty shitty old fashioned. But if you got a good bar is gonna nail it, obviously.
I find where like in Ontario, in Ottawa, anyways, there's a few places that will make a good old fashioned. But I find that the big thing is not the big issue is not the ingredients, because they'll list the ingredients and they're usually good. It's the ice that ruins it.
It's the bill.
Yes.
Oh, the ice.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's the ice, because I there's a pub like really close to my house, and we went there and went to get coffee. I mean, it's a pub. You go there for beer, but they have a cocktail menu, and they had the old fashioned. It was Buffalo Trace, and then they had they were using some local aromatic bitters and some local orange bitters, and they used a Demerara sugar cube. I'm like, that's perfect ingredients. That sounds fantastic. And then they garnished with an orange peel. Like, that sounds fantastic. I'll order that. And then it comes, and they're using like bar ice, like the ice chips. So by my sixth sip, it was diluted to all hell, So, but I know I don't want to be that snob who's like, what kind of ice do you serve it in?
Well, and a lot of that is because they get their ice from an ice machine, and they're using the same types of ice for more than.
And it's not a cocktail bar, so they're not going to invest in big block ice. Yeah,
it gets it's wet, and it's already in that stage for dilution, correct?
I've noticed that with my ice machine. I love my ice machine. It makes really big clear ice, but it is because it's not a freezer. It's an ice machine, so the ice does melt, and then it just keeps replenishing. So it melts faster. So my drinks do get diluted faster. So I can't shake as long as I normally would, because it is already wet ice.
Yes, makes a difference.
I remember the old fashioned, which ended up becoming my favorite cocktail, along with the Manhattan. I had a bunch of bad ones before I had a good one. But I kept saying to myself, why is this drink so popular, but I'm not really digging it? They weren't like vomit bad. I mean, it's New York, right? But they were just like not, they were great. You know what I mean? And then I had my first one that was like, holy shit. And it was that, man. It was like a really good big block of ice, the perfect amount of bitters, good whiskey. They expressed the lemon orange peel, which honestly, the aromatics of that, man,
It makes a difference.
Really make a fucking difference. And that's when I was like, all right, this is the cocktail. This is it. But I also realized I can't just get this anywhere.
Yeah.
Like
I remember the first time I made it.
You can get a Manhattan pretty much anywhere, decent. You tell them, give me a 2-to-1 Manhattan, they'll probably make it decent for you.
Yep. But again,
the vermouth might not be great. They might use like Martini and Rossi, but it'll get the job done.
There's nothing wrong with Martini Rossi.
Actually, no, there's not.
I don't hate it. I don't hate Martini and Rossi. People that hate it are just being a little bit snobbish, but it's not horrible. It's not.
Which ones you like the Carpano? That's
no, but that's what I'm saying. But the good shit though, like Carpana is crazy.
I just wish I could get like small bottles.
Everybody has their favorites. I've used a lot of Martini
Hey, Peter.
Rossi stuff, and it does really, really well. Now, of course, my favorite sweet vermouth is made from Dillon's, and that's in Ontario. And I can't get that, unfortunately, because of where I live.
You can't get it? Oh, yeah. The Dillon's makes a good vermouth.
You can't get Canadian shit in Canada?
Well, it's because what he's talking, Dillon's is local. It's very...
away. It's a little hard to get.
He is now in a complete other side of the country. Dillon's is Ontario local.
Yeah.
So they don't, I don't know how far their reach is, but it's not
I can get some of their stuff,
far.
But again, it's their mainstay stuff, right? The sweet vermouth. It's one of those things. And you'll actually find there are people that will go to a specific brand because they grew up with it, or maybe they didn't grow up with it, but it was the first that they used, and it's what they know and what they expect.
Oh, absolutely.
And that expectation can make or break a cocktail for somebody. When you add a new ingredient, it may be more expensive, it may be a bit more nuanced and flavor-wise, but somebody won't.
I haven't even tried it yet.
Dave, you're 100% right, Dave. And let me tell you an example. I've been working the business. When I started Carpano, I would switch it out in things like a Negroni or Manhattan, and the old school fellas were like, "What is this?" Because Carpano is so different from Martini and Rossi. If you've been drinking it long enough, it's immediate. If you haven't been drinking sweet vermouth long, you don't really maybe not notice the nuances. But they were like, "Oh, this is totally different. Well, how'd you make it?" Like it was immediate for them because sweet vermouth is it's fortified. That each one adds their own kind of aromatics and stuff to it.
Yep.
What's the bourbon? I know the Vieux Carré, but the bourbon renewal. Does anyone know the specs on that one? I've seen the name. I don't.
That's a Morgenthau. That's a Morgenthaler.
That's a Morgenthaler.
I looked at that recently, and I can't remember it.
I made it like my first year on YouTube, man. I cannot remember, but I remember it being really, really good.
Okay, we have to do it. I'll do it properly since I'm the only Frenchie here.
Well, I'll pronounce it.
No, Rob, before you do it, let the rest of us do it.
Okay. So yeah, everyone else do it.
Dave, how do you pronounce it, Dave?
Vieux Carré.
That's pretty nice. That's not bad. That's not bad.
I would just say Vieux Carré.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
You gotta say
my Bronx ass is gonna say it all fucked up. I just say Vieux Carré.
I don't see. It's the Vu. I remember the first time I heard that.
Baby, we're in America.
The first time I heard that was Leandro on Educated Barfly, and I was like, why does he keep saying Vu? It's not Vu. So it's Vieux Carré. And you can even roll the R's, Vieux Carré. So you guys get the carré, that's fine. You say carré, but it's I don't know where you get the Vu. If you say Vieux, then you got it.
Why do Canadians? Why do Canadians?
No R.
Put a U in
I
color.
just believe your pronunciation.
What's that?
That's why I just believe your pronunciation because there's no Vieux Carré. No. I'll argue
Vieux Carré. I need another French person here. I need truffles. Where's truffles?
So this guy Woodburn is talking about. You should check out some of our Manx rum, gins, and vodkas. What is that? Some Canadian shit? Where are you from, Woodburn? Wood butt? Woodbutt one.
You should check out some of our Manx rums, gins, and vodkas. Woodbutt. Let's
What
look
country
that
are
up.
you from?
Absolutely. I'm always willing to try something new. If you can
Yep.
ship it to me, I'll try them all out. Absolutely.
Even better.
I had someone reach out to me and be like, "Hey, I want to send you some bottles and try out our products." And I was like, "Great, can you send to Canada?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry."
All right, sorry, I forgot.
It's like, damn it.
That's all I want out of life. People to send me free.
Okay, am I at the right website? There's a big like fawn or satyr on your on your website.
I don't know if he.
Like, welcome
owns
to Narnia.
You think? Do you
Welcome
think
to
he owns-
Narnia. I don't know. It says it's
Manx sounds like some sort of like
Glacian-
male version of Spanx. No, Andrew, am I wrong? Right?
Nice.
It sounds like that's got to be some male version of Spanx.
There we go.
Right.
I got another Frenchie vouching for me with the pronunciation here.
I will vouch for you, Rob. Peter Boomer.
We'll vouch for you. However,
Google disagrees a bit.
What does Google say?
It's vieux carré.
Well, vieux. That's it just has a weird vieux carré.
Steve,
I'm sorry, I was deliberately doing like Inspector Clouseau. Vieux carré.
Hamburger.
We should deliver
Hamburger.
it.
You just got to do the French laugh.
Oh.
So Canada has some unique laws when it comes to importing alcohol into the country.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes it
So we
very
got
hard to
Sean
find-
here.
Hold on, Rob. Hold on. I want to hear what Dave had to say real quick.
Yeah, Dave, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so it makes it very, very hard to actually import things into the country. So, for example, Mr. Black or Steve's Threefold Distilling Gin is things that you can specifically easily point to because they have to come
Mr.
from another
Black.
country, and they're both from Australia, actually, of all places. But importing alcohol into Canada is a huge jump, and then not only do you have to get the okay to import into the country, you then have to get the okay to import into the individual provinces as well. As each space is broken down, some are provincially or state controlled, depending on where you live.
That's the problem.
Some are an open setup where you can buy whatever. However, getting things into the countries is that problem.
So there's 2 points.
Even interprovincial has only been legal recently.
Wow,
like
really?
5 years ago or so.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not too different from here. Like I'm in New York, I can't ship to any other state. It's horrible. Like people can ship
No,
to
it's
me
weird.
time, but I can't ship from New York. It makes no sense. I mean,
Well,
I could do it illegally.
What's funny is I actually like last year I finally found a couple websites from Alberta. And Alberta, I mean, that's where Trevor is, right? And he has access to so much more. And I found a place in Alberta that will ship to Ontario. That's how I was able to start getting like shipwreck products and stuff like that. And it turns out that the federal government repealed the law that was stopping interprovincial shipment of alcohol. They repealed that like 10 years ago, but none of the provinces did it because it was just like too much of a hassle. They're just like, whatever. So Alberta's like the first to be like, okay, well, we'll do it. And so I'm able to order from them, but no other province will do it. Individual like small distilleries, most of them will. But yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's such a stupid like red tape and stuff. All right, we getting on to second cocktails.
Yeah, I think it's
Dave.
Mr. Edwards there. It's his turn.
Mr. Clouseau.
Mr. Crusoe, what do you make? Are you making the?
So we had a gentleman asking about bitters, Rob. And I think you wanted to address.
Yes.
No, none
That's
of
right.
it.
On the gin ranking, there it is. Yeah, so that's one thing that I'm probably going to do this year on my channel is go look into making your own bitters. I've some people have done it. I don't know if anyone here has done it, but it's a fairly simple process. It's definitely something I'm looking into. I don't know. I've got a fairly good collection of bitters, and like I don't see for me, the reason I got into making my own liqueurs was because a lot of stuff wasn't available here. In terms of bitters, I'm able to get most of everything, and it's not something that I'm not going to go through a bottle of bitters that quickly. You buy like just today, I bought a bottle of a celery bitters we actually have a new at my local mall. There's a cocktail shop that opened up.
Oh, cool.
So I'm super excited because I've been having to order everything from Amazon or Cocktail Kingdom, or the closest one is Cocktail Emporium in Toronto. But there's a local shop now, like 10 minutes from my house. It's called the Avid Host, and they've got all sorts of like cocktail stuff. It's great. Anyway, so I bought celery bitters, and because I saw there's a couple cocktails that required it, I didn't have that. But like, would I make celery bitters? Because it's not like I'm going to use a lot of them. And it's not that expensive either to get.
There are some bitters where it is so specific, you drink a lot of martinis, celery bitters are great. But if you're like a whiskey guy, you're probably not going to use it too often. And even then, like there's some guys that use a lot of it. I'm sure like Doc from Old Fashioned Ways. Doc from Old Fashioned Ways obviously makes a lot of bitters. Uses a lot of bitters. I know Tim uses a lot of bitters. And Stefan uses a lot of bitters.
Yes.
So sorry, I got some local stuff here. So Peter, if you're part of the Orleans cocktail group, they're called the Avid Host. They're in Place Orleans, so in the mall there. And it's a really, really great shop. They got a whole nice selection of bitters, nice selection of syrups. They sell 0 ABV spirits. Obviously, they can't sell liqueur, but and then of course a lot of glassware and things like that. So definitely check them out. I was impressed. I went there today, spoke to the owner for a little while. It was a lot of fun.
What do we got, Dave? Talk to us, brother.
This is a gin Ricky. Comes out of the 1920s. It's got 2 ounces of gin, half an ounce of lime juice, and 4 ounces of soda water. That's just a refreshing cocktail.
How is this, other than lemon and lime, how is this different than a Tom Collins?
Almost not different at all. It's literally.
Well, you didn't put simple, right?
Stir with your left hand or stir with your right hand?
So this would be a British version of a Tom Collins, pretty much. But interestingly enough, this is actually a template that leads us all the way up to a Kentucky Buck, right? And similar drinks like that.
Well, a buck though has ginger ale or ginger beer.
Yeah, and you can do this now. How do you want to do it? Now this is of course gin. You could use rum. You could use a little bit of vodka. You could use anything you want, and you can just adjust your citrus. And you know what? A little bit of soda water. And if you really want to sweeten it up, because say you're using something that's a little bit more astringent for your spirit, you could use it like a lemon lime soda. Cut out and then you just have. It's basically a 1920s of a version of a White Claw, but it tastes better than a White Claw.
Anything tastes better than a White Claw.
Really, because a White Claw is just basically vodka and soda with a little bit of juice, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of gin, and you can play with this with your type of gin, because your type of gin, you can have something a bit more floral, like a Tanqueray, or something that's a lot more. Right?
Tim, tonic water is sweetened. So that's soda is just bubbly water.
Well,
tonic has sugar and
quinine in it.
Do they all have quinine or
no.
Does it have to have
I think that's what makes it a tonic.
Yeah, the tonic has quinine in it. It also has sugar in it, where a club soda, if you get it canned or bottled, technically has both sugar and salt in there to balance out the flavors.
Look at the sodium.
I'm just using
club soda. Well, club soda is zero calories. There's no sugar in club soda.
Well, club soda has no sugar, but has sodium. It does have a sodium.
It's got minerals. Yeah.
You could have some sugar in there, because it's only zero if depending on how it's measured.
Hey, Rob, can you highlight Iceman's quote?
Oh boy.
And the difference for tonic versus soda water.
The yellow snow, and it tasted better than White Claw.
By the way,
lemon White Claw. Which White Claw?
Okay, it's the middle of winter, and let me give you a tip: don't eat yellow snow.
Yeah, Tim was too late with the comment.
Getting back to bitters really quickly, I recently picked up Trader Joe's makes their own bitters. Really good. It's got it's like very very anise and cinnamon forward. Oh, they're good. They're really good. I think Rob wanted me to actually mention it. What I thought about them.
Old-fashioned ways, you don't have to try White Claw.
No.
Did you see that
You can just-
Can I take
has
Rob's
40,
question about
bitters.
vodka?
Yeah, actually,
Which
hold
one?
on a sec. Let's take the question.
This one here?
Yeah.
Should you? No.
What are you talking about?
The answer is yes, you can.
No,
Use
you
vodka for
shouldn't.
what?
Why would you? Really, truthfully.
Vodka is good for infusions and making liqueurs, making bitters, making.
And,
No, it's
and
not
for
vodka
getting
is not-
drunk without
Drink it.
tasting alcohol. You know. it's-
Yeah.
If that's your goal, to get drunk
Look,
without
dude,
tasting anything
we
interesting,
can beat this horse, but vodka is popular for a reason. People don't
It
like the
is.
taste of alcohol.
No,
They don't like the
if
taste
you
of
make,
alcohol.
if everything else in the drink is good flavors and really
Yeah.
interesting,
Mhm.
and you just want to up the alcohol content, throw some vodka in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Absolutely.
Dude, you know
and-
how,
and
let me tell you
that's-
something. Like, you know how many fucking sea breezes I've sold in my life? Because it's it's delicious. They're fucking great. It's fruit punch, basically with vodka, with alcohol.
But you
It's
have
amazing.
to also be careful because you can add too much vodka. I'm sure that people will hate me for saying that. You can add too much vodka because vodka does have a taste, no matter what anybody says, and it will overpower a drink if you get stupid with it, like when we were all 19 or 21 in the States, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, but you can make too much rum or whiskey, anything like that. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying I drank too much of it when I was younger than 19.
we
But
got some
After having
foreshadowing
said that-
from Tim here. Oh, Tim, how could you?
It's throwing a bit of shade.
Oh, but that's a thing already. The vodka. What's the vodka Campari? The vodka Negroni called?
The vodka. But how is that? That's just like a higher
No, but there's a
ABV
name for it.
Campari.
I'm pretty sure Tim has drank it a million times. There's a name for the vodka Negroni.
yeah,
Vodka,
Vodroni.
but Vagroni. But if it's literally just vodka and Campari, isn't that just a higher ABV Campari?
Yeah,
basically.
Which for some people might not be a bad thing if you like Campari.
I could see people going for it.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally.
But I would rather just have anyways.
I will
All
tell
right,
you though, the one thing about vodka that always killed me, was the fact that my clients would be like I have to
Yes.
have Grey Goose or Bellevue or Tito's and shit. I'm like, all right, whatever. I get them whatever they wanted. They paid for it, but they didn't know the fucking difference. I mean, the really low end shit like Georgie and stuff like that, like that shit's harsh.
I remember last
But once
Christmas.
it's distilled enough times, it all tastes.
I remember last Christmas, so Christmas 2022. I was at the LCBO, or our local liquor store, just buying my provisions for the holidays, and this guy ahead of me at the cash is rolling up with 6 the large bottles of Belvedere vodka, and I'm like, I guess he's hosting, but I'm just like, dude. You don't need to be spending for the. You're probably throwing this in a punch, you do not need.
there are people that swear by it though. They can swear.
Yeah,
They
100%.
swear. They can tell the difference between Grey Goose,
Yep.
which, by the way, Kirkland bottles at a cheaper value, and
Really?
something
That's
like
awesome.
a Smirnoff Black, which is actually made with potatoes, if I remember correctly, versus the regular red label Smirnoff,
Smirnoff
which I think
potatoes.
is actually wheat vodka. Because Smirnoff,
Most Russian vodka is potatoes, and the
Well,
Swedish
there's-
vodka is
but there's some wheat vodkas,
there's some wheat.
and so
I've
We
done
have a-
vodka tastings, and there's definitely differences when you drink them neat, or even with club soda. But once it's in a cocktail, that shit gets lost.
oh no, true.
I will say that we have there's a local distillery.
A1 martinis. That was his thing.
There's a local distillery here that they're actually it's in Almont, Ontario, and they're actually a dairy farm that opened a distillery, and they make vodka using milk byproduct.
Yeah,
from
Moo Cow,
yes.
something like that?
I've
Is
had-
that the moo cow, whatever the hell you used to use?
Vodka. That's what it's
Vodka,
called.
yeah.
It
Vodka.
comes
Yeah.
in what looks like
And-
a milk bottle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
those are
and
cool
yeah, it
ones.
looks like those old school milk bottles. but I've tasted theirs neat, and you can on the back end get like a creaminess. It's still vodka.
Neat.
It's very
But neat.
yeah, neat. In a cocktail, you'll never tell.
All right, so everybody in the comment section, what is the vodka that you own right now? What vodka do you have in your bar right now? I'm sure most of you have vodka at home. And don't be afraid to say it's like, Georgie or some shit like that. If it is, it is.
Heritage Spirits, Collingwood, Ontario.
What do you have?
I've got if I want to plug another local brand,
Heritage
I got BD's Potato Vodka. There's a good from Alliston, Ontario.
Oh yeah.
And I like these guys because every time I post stuff on Instagram using their vodka, they repost it. So
yeah.
See,
another good one is
brands like this are good because they are smooth. They're incredibly smooth.
Yeah.
So what do we got?
I used to watch Dragon's Den, and so at least 3 different occasions on Dragon's Den, there'd be a distillery that Dragon's Den is kind of like Shark Tank. It's the Canadian version of Shark Tank, and there'd be like a local distillery that'd come on and showcase their premium vodka, and they'd serve it to the dragons, and each of them would be like, oh, like what the hell is this? And it was so funny to watch because like they're there like, yeah, it's totally smooth, and then they're there like throwing it up.
Yeah, see the flavor. Listen, and it's good too. Like these guys, some of these guys make are doing flavored vodka and soda. Ace, that shit is fucking ace. If you just want to have like an easy drink, like you're at a club or some shit like that, vodka. I mean, a soda with like a blueberry vodka, some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. A friend of mine had I tasted it at his house, and he had it was like I think it was Smirnoff. It could have been like Absolute or another one of those cheap brands, but it was literally a birthday cake vodka, and it just tasted like it just tasted like cupcake, like vanilla cupcake kind of thing.
Yeah, so
it's pretty crazy.
Vodka makes like whipped cream, birthday cake. It might have been Pinnacle. They do some off the wall.
It could have been. I don't remember.
Iceman has a bunch of Pinnacle. All right, my turn.
All right, Vino, you going for the second? Yeah, go for the second one.
Yeah, I'm going to do the Skoloff.
The Scofflaw?
Scofflaw. What did I say? Skoloff?
Skoloff.
Okay, so
I got
Vino's already on his way to crashing. So interestingly enough, flavored vodkas, flavored gins have really taken off. So if you're somebody that
big time.
Oh yeah.
That likes to try, say, a highball, or to try a highball. So a little bit of your flavored vodka with your soda of some type. Or every time you adjust, you get one of those different flavors. You can. What is your problem?
Flavucare.
You do a hybrid and just pronounce it really bad.
Okay, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to create a cocktail called the Scofflavucare.
Dave, I'm surprised you don't have a bunch of flavored vodka.
Now, you know what? I don't.
You make so many, kind of colorful cocktails.
But you know what? Some of the cocktails I make, people say, you should put this flavored vodka. For example, you want this pineapple flavored vodka in this pineapple flavored drink. Why? Doesn't make sense to me, really, honestly, because I want the rest of the ingredients to act in a cocktail like that to sort of speak for themselves. Like,
yeah,
and that's a huge thing for me. I'm not a purist, because I'll drink almost anything, or at least I'll try it. And but I do find the nuances are important, and some of the flavored vodkas don't taste good to me because I wouldn't try drink. It's nothing I would drink straight, so I wouldn't put it in a cocktail. And the other thing is, and this is big for me, when I say cocktails for everybody, not everybody can go get the super fancy flavored something or other, right?
This is true.
Dave, you're getting an awesome comment here.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much. It's great to have you here.
David, I agree with you on the flavors.
I have a
Sometimes the
vodka.
flavors taste so artificial. It's like it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
It tastes very chemical.
Okay, I've got vodka, but it was in a mystery thing. I'm on a subscription thing where a surprise bottle shows up every 3 months.
That's
But
cool.
this is a barley-based vodka, and it's vanilla. There was an actual vanilla bean in it.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
A favorite. I ended up. You probably can't see it. It's not clear. It's taken on a vanilla.
Yeah, I
color.
see it. It's got a bit of a almost looks aged.
How do you find it?
I took the vanilla bean out because I thought it was going to get too over the top because I don't use.
It
vodka
will
very
will
much.
keep infusing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which is
I do
probably
actually
not a
have
bad
vodka.
thing with vodka. I mean, all right, folks, skull off.
Scofflaw. I
Cholo.
thought you did that one
What?
already. I thought you had done that one.
Scoliosis. Isn't that
Oh.
something else?
Oh,
Oh no, you don't like it?
yeah. Yeah.
What's
Oh,
in
it
it
didn't
again?
work. Not good.
Oh, I didn't expect this. I thought for some reason I thought you had done this one on your channel already.
No.
So it's got
No, you never
bourbon,
did.
dry vermouth, lemon, and grenadine. Okay. Talk us through it. What's killing
It's not. You know what it is? It's like it's got a bit of a weird. I don't know. There's a chalky flavor to it.
That'll be the vermouth. That'll be the vermouth.
That's a fresh bottle.
No, but it's not because it's.
No, I know.
It's a
I
fresh
haven't tried
bottle.
nothing like that. I don't know.
Try all three of those and all three of the last ingredients without the vermouth, and you'll probably like it better.
I don't know. It tastes a little. I feel like I'm getting a little bit like I know. I think it might be the bourbon. It's like a bit of a weird metallic finish. This is a pretty decent bourbon from Brooklyn, the Kings County Distillery. Yeah, it's not my favorite cocktail.
it? That's too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us why you thumbs down it and why you hate it and why you would never serve it if somebody.
Yeah, I would definitely never make
Like
it. I would definitely never make it for somebody. That's for sure. I don't know. There's a weird kind of metallic finish going on. I think the lemon juice actually exasperates it because of the tartness.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's not
That's
for
not
me.
one I've had. I've never tried that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend.
All right.
Definitely not.
Well, I'm
definitely
gonna
not
go
over
and-
vermouth. Just real quick to Tim. This is.
gonna
I
make
literally
the-
opened his bottle yesterday, Tim.
I'm gonna make the hanky panky, mainly
Well,
because
that's
I've never
about
had it before. Never had it before, and it's a funny name.
No, that's a good
It is a
cocktail.
funny
Strong cocktail.
So I found a
Gin,
bunch of different like
Oh, those
ratios
specs
for
are
this
not
one.
the ones I use though. Yeah, that's a different.
So what are the
spec.
specs? Yeah, what are the specs you use?
God, I couldn't tell you. I haven't had it in a long time, but let me see. I think I made it recently.
Some of
Let me
them
see, I
even
made it
had like
recently.
some of them
You know
even
what?
had like a bar spoon of orange juice, which I found just weird. So I
You
left
know-
that out.
Yes. No, Rob. I'm sorry. I'm confusing this with the Bijou. I
Bijou,
use these
okay.
specs, and I do like it. It's not strong. It's
Okay.
good. It's
Yeah.
good though.
Well, I'm gonna give it a try. So we're doing
That's,
an ounce and a half, equal parts of gin and sweet vermouth, and then a little bit of Fernet, and that's it. It's a stir.
That was created by at the Savoy by the famous female bartender.
Oh, she was there before Harry Craddock. Yes.
Yeah. I made a video about her.
Janae?
Yes,
Was
I
it
remember
made by
that.
Janae?
Ada Coleman.
No,
Ada Coleman.
Andrew,
yes.
if it was Janae, I'd be pouring this whole bottle in there.
No, not Janae. No.
Well,
so
Ada
This is actually a
Coleman was-
local,
She was
another
very,
local Ontario
very-
gin, and one of my favorites. This is Juniper's Wit from Perth, Ontario. And I'm going to use for my vermouth. I'm going to open this Koki which I've never had.
I think that's Tim's shit right there, right? I think Tim likes that one.
Yeah. Tim went crazy when I showed the bottle. I just saw this at it's never been available, so I jumped on it. Saw it recently, but I
It's
have
good
not
stuff.
cracked it open because I don't open a lot of vermouth because I don't use a lot of vermouth and it oxidizes, so I don't want to have 10 bottles open at once, like my
That's
sherry
why
that I have now.
I buy these joints here.
Yeah, I can't find
think-
little bottles. It's hard enough to find big bottles.
I use a lot of sweet vermouth.
Jesus, can't even open this thing. Like
So
right
I
now,
would
I have like
probably
way
say
too much sherry.
This
I ripped
cocktail
on
is
the
one of my
Manhattan.
favorite ingredients. Actually,
Was that Dave?
this cocktail
Fernet.
that Rob is making has one of my favorite ingredients, Fernet, and it's
Fernet,
weird.
Fernet is fantastic.
You wouldn't think it if you're just, especially if you're new to cocktails or spirits or digestives or Amaro, but that mentally medicine-y taste.
Ooh, that tastes good.
Absolutely.
I want to try that just on its own.
Just, and when your throat's like, have a small capful's worth of that, and it usually clears it up, or at least moves whatever's going on. It's just, I really like that. I really like it.
That's a really good vermouth. I'm not a big vermouth fan, but
it's a
Koki is freaking good.
A good ass vermouth. I would say after Carpano, probably my second favorite vermouth.
Like, I was like defending Martini earlier, but this is a lot better.
Yeah.
All right, we need a little Fernet.
Rob Balaz. Yeah, cooking with fortified wines, ports, sherry. Shit, man. I do it all the time. I reduce it and use it for steak sauce. Ooh wee, fire, fire. Yeah, oh, it's so.
Well, I've
good.
got after my videos this week. I've got like 8 bottles of sherry open.
Yeah, Rob,
so.
I'm telling you, man, you eat a lot of steak, Rob. I'm telling you,
I do.
Make a reduction sauce. It's incredible. Man.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
It does sound really good.
Well, you could make a coq au vin, and that would be
That's another banger too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. And what is the other one that Julia Charles is really famous for?
Bœuf bourguignon.
Wait, that's right.
Bœuf bourguignon. Or as the Americans say, beef burgundy.
Oh yeah, beef burgundy. You're a Canadian. Don't make us start talking shit.
I'm sorry, I ate my beef medium rare. Little bit of salt.
Everybody in the chat, how do you take your steaks? All right, guys. Everybody in the chat, how do you?
It's got to be medium rare.
Yeah, usually medium rare.
So it's medium rare, but I'm not one of those, like, again, it comes down to are you a snob or do you let people enjoy things? I like my medium rare. I think that's how it should be. However, if a friend or like my wife prefers it more on the medium side, I'm not gonna throw a fit. I'll cook it the way she wants it.
I've had steak the entire spectrum. I prefer medium rare. Rare's okay. Blue, I'm not really a huge fan of because I don't need it to be moving at me.
Yeah.
While I'm carving it off this cow.
I've had it blue.
I don't want to.
It's just too much chew.
Vodka and a real cow.
The thing about blue, if it's like filet mignon, if it's the tenderest cut, it's not that bad. But if it's a tougher cut, like you're chewing, it ends up. The whole point of having it rare is like. If it's so raw that it's still blubbery, like it's still chewy and like that's disgusting. It's not enjoyable.
And so all right, so Rob, that's actually a good point.
Thank you, Phil.
What is your favorite cut? What is your favorite cut? I'm a filet mignon guy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
overrated.
Filet and
overrated.
Ribeye. Ribeye is
filet mignon is fantastic, Dave.
If you have any Brazilians in the chat here, picanha is amazing. Picanha is it's just incredible.
What is it? Go for burger.
Burger. Well, actually,
I hate having to chew up steak. I'll go burger.
Oh, I love.
Actually, interestingly enough, you can do flank steaks. Fantastic. You just don't overcook it, right?
All right, here we go. Here's the hanky panky. I've never had this one actually.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I mean it's like a Manhattan because you got the
it's a Manhattan.
gin, not rye, but gin and vermouth. But then again, that Fernet, it has that little mint. I love this. This is why it's my favorite Amaro because I just love that little mint quality it has at the end.
Well,
it's not sweet. It's not like a crème de menthe.
The Fernet actually boosts up the gin a bit because the gin kind of gets lost without the Fernet.
That's true. Very nice.
Interesting, Rob. Why do after that having a drink do I think you're going to be going up to visit your wife?
What?
Hanky panky.
Hanky panky.
For some hanky panky. Okay.
Yes.
That totally went over my head.
I was being smart. It didn't work so well apparently, but I was being smart. Now, but interestingly enough, the flavors on that
T-bone,
one, right?
And a T-bone, who knows the difference between a T-bone and a porterhouse?
Just cut the bone off.
No, so the porterhouse, because the T-bone is at one. It's literally the same cut, but T-bone's at one end. That's at the smaller end. They're all T-bones technically, but when the T-bone really looks like a triangle, it kind of cuts down like that. That's a T-bone. As you get to the one of the thicker end, basically, the fillet part of the T-bone is a lot thicker, and if the steak is a lot rounder, that's a porterhouse. And usually the porterhouse are cut nice and thick. I actually bought I bought a couple of years ago. I bought an inch. I went to a butcher and asked for an 1.5 inch cut porterhouse. So it was like this thick, and like the thing. I think the thing was like 47 ounces. And I ate it all myself, and oh my god, it was so good.
What's the difference between a strip and a skirt?
Well, the strip loin is. Oh, is this a joke, or are you actually asking?
Was that?
A strip loin.
Is this a joke, or is this a
strip loin?
Venison.
I'm not sure.
Venison is really good. I love venison.
Venison's? Well, it's got to be I've had venison steaks that were fantastic, but I've had venison sausages that were very gamey, and I didn't like them.
I've never had a sausage before.
No, actually, the best way to have the best venison sausages usually have a little bit of pork mixed in there, just to give it that moisture and that little bit of fat that you don't get on the venison. Because
And maybe to cut down the gaminess.
Yeah, well, venison itself, there's very little fat on deer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to add fat to those sausages to give them, because they have to sort of cook within themselves, and that fat spreads throughout the sausage, right? So when mixed with the spices, so you have to add something to it. You can do it with beef, but it's not going to give you that same. But I love venison sausages. So, and yeah, anyways.
Well, any
You
venison
know what?
is
You
good.
know what?
I like any meat.
You know what's a damn good sausage? Alligator.
Really?
So
Ooh.
good. Yeah,
I've had alligator once.
Oh, do you guys eat gator out in Australia or what?
When I was in Darwin, which is up in the tropical north, they had all these exotic meats. I did try them all. Crocodile, not gator.
Okay.
Kangaroo, emu, water buffalo.
I've had emu
camel.
and ostrich, and they're pretty damn good. They're red meats, even though they're birds.
Yeah. I've had ostrich. I've had gator. Obviously, I love gator. I never had kangaroo though. What does kangaroo taste like?
Kangaroo's really lean, really red meat. Actually,
they're all muscle. They're all fucking
it can
muscle.
be really.
You've seen
gamey,
those
like
guys with the biceps.
You ever seen them, dude? They're fucking massive, man.
Yeah,
They
no,
stand
the
like this.
Western
I
Reds
fuck
are
you
jacked. They've spent time in prison. You look at
I'll
them.
fuck
So we have a question here. Do each of us have a favorite cocktail?
Oh yeah.
It's hard because it depends
I would
on
say-
mood.
I would say go-to cocktail.
Yeah.
Go-to
Yeah,
cocktail.
that's a better one. Go to. Yeah.
Yeah. My go-to is definitely in Manhattan.
I would say old fashioned, and then old fashioned year round, and then like summer Mai Tai. So like Mai Tai, if it's like hot day, I'm outside. Like I'm not gonna have a Mai Tai if I'm staying indoors.
Well, my
so
summer, then if we're gonna do that seasonal, summer is a daiquiri, and I'll drink a daiquiri indoors. I drink,
yeah,
I drink,
daiquiris are good.
I drink a lot of daiquiris in the summer, a lot.
But old fashioned's like coming hard days work. Old fashioned just like at the end of the day, like like old fashioned
old
good
fashioned
all the
is-
time.
Manhattan old fashioned is like 1 and 1A, but I really like sweet vermouth, so I usually go with Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, interestingly enough, I'll go for a whiskey highball, and I know that sounds like tantamount to murder.
That's
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with it.
Dude. I love that.
nothing wrong with that.
I'm a huge fan of a whiskey highball, and it's weird. And this is a weird way to drink a whiskey highball, just so everybody looks at me funny, because you are going to look at me funny. I'll drink it with warm water.
That's
Yeah,
is
okay,
weird.
I'm going to look at you funny.
Yeah,
That is weird.
dude. That is
Now,
weird.
part of that is because like, it's minus 36 where I live right now, Celsius.
Yeah.
Having said that, I like it like just because what I'm looking for is I'm just looking for the flavors versus that condensed, and I go for the longer. The warmer is just it just works on my throat really well, and I know, like I said, everybody's gonna look at me like I'm a madman.
Dave, you see the highlight, Dave?
I have no. And by the way, yes, I'm weird. But part of the problem
If you
is
watch Dave long enough, he'll confirm it himself.
I'm also the same guy that will have an egg yolk and shoot 151 right afterwards. But I don't have any 151.
Oh, you need to get some 151, Dave.
Yeah, but the
I just bought a bottle too.
Which one? Lemon Heart?
Don Cool.
okay, but
Okay.
having said that, that's sort of my go-to. I just kind of like, I don't know what it is. It's just I like it, and I know that's one of those questions. But if I was going to sit down at a bar and
Nice.
I could get any cocktail, it would be an Electric Circus, the way I made it on my channel, because I didn't use Genepi and I didn't use
You
China.
keep, David. This is like this Electric Circus is the biggest cocktails in the history of this show. What is in this thing?
Does it have Midori? I looked one up and it had Midori. Does it have Midori in it?
There's no way, dude. There's no way that's his go-to fucking cocktail.
I can't imagine this is go-to.
Oh,
But I looked
okay.
Electric
Really?
Circus cocktail and it said Midori. So
Yes.
oh god, no,
What?
please.
And you know what?
This is the same guy that drinks whiskey with warm.
Okay, speaking of Midori, Midori is one bottle that I hunted down because it's not available in Ontario. I hunted down for over 2 years, and when I finally got it, it tasted identical to the cheap melon liqueur that I can get here,
that's interesting.
and it is the most disappointing bottle I've ever bought. And so I'd like to know, what are your most disappointing bottles? The bottle that you hunted down and then you got it finally, and you're like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's not great.
Oh, so you mean one that I was hyped for, not just in general.
You were hyped for, and then it just did not meet the hype.
Ooh, that's a good one.
In the comments, comment to let us know, you guys, a bottle that you were hyped for and did not meet the hype.
Okay,
Midori for me.
So Iceman did put in my specs, but the way I make my Electric Circus is an ounce of dry gin, an ounce of yellow chartreuse, which is actually a substitute for the Genepi because I can't get it. 1 ounce of Midori. I know it sounds strange. An ounce of lemon juice, and a dash of Peychaud's bitters instead of the Chinese bitters. Shake it, fine straight. It comes out this fantastic yellow color, and it is really good.
I'll tell you what mine
Have
is.
you made a video of that one?
I want to preface it by saying
I'll have to check out the video.
I enjoy the spirit, but I thought it'd be better than it is, and that's Suze.
I love Suze. I like Genshin.
And I like it a lot.
Yeah.
For some reason, I expected something completely different.
Yeah, it's if you want the movie that had the same feeling for me because it got overhyped was Inception.
So you enjoyed it, but you thought something
I was so late. I was so late to see Inception. So for like weeks on end, all my friends were like, "Oh my god, it is the greatest film in the world. It will change your mind." I finally I rented it because it was not in theaters anymore, and I watched it. I'm like, this sucks. It's fine. It's a fine movie.
Was good.
It's not mind blowing by any means.
Oh yeah, well, but it's a good movie, and the idea is good. Do you know what actually built off that? Is a movie that came out on Prime called Tenet.
I just
Tenet's terrible. Tenet is terrible.
Yeah, but
that's
your opinion.
Well, Tenet is new though. It's the same director, but it's a newer film, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
I knew it's like 4 years old.
Yeah.
Tenant, like an apartment tenant?
Oh, it's bad.
No, Tenet.
Yeah, so what it
It's
is,
about
it's a guy
weird
that
time
going
travel. Some people
forward
move
through time,
backwards, some people
seeing
move
stuff
forwards.
happening, going reverse,
It's so
and
stupid.
really good.
It tries to be smart, but it's just not.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see that one. I saw something recently with Kevin Bacon, and it's like the world, all the electricity stops all over the world. Did you see that? Shit, man.
So
Meagers.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
So are you in Quebec? Spin and yeah, you must be in Quebec because we have McGuinness in Ontario. It's called McGuinness. In Quebec, it's this exact same bottle, but it's rebranded as Meagers. And I have not tried their cherry brandy, but I don't want to.
Actually,
You've just confirmed that I don't want to.
Cherry slush puppy syrup. Woo-wee.
Do you guys? Is that American? Is Slush Puppy American? Do you guys have Slush Puppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have Slush Puppies. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure that was a Canadian thing, but
slushy with booze in it. Come on.
You know,
It doesn't
you know,
always have booze in it.
Something I bought that was I should have known. I didn't have high expectations, but I actually didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was. I bought a cheap bottle of slow gin. Do not skimp on slow gin.
No,
I've seen so many. I didn't know what it was, and I've seen so many cocktails.
I have that. I have the Heyman's.
This is good. This
But
is
is
the
it-
Heyman.
I ended up buying that. I learned my lesson. The cheap stuff, it's like robotism. It's literally fucking
Yeah,
offensive.
it's really fake
That is,
flavored.
I
Oh,
have memories of like my mom like shoving a spoon of Robitussin in my mouth, me just going like
It's literally it's disgusting. And the thing is, I made the cocktail before trying the slow gin, and so I had the cocktail, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I'm looking at the
The worst
recipe.
was like I remember the taste, like I still remember the taste of Robitussin, and I'm like, it should be illegal for them to call this cherry flavored. This is not cherry flavored. This is garbage vomit flavor. But yeah, so I've for years I've yet to actually try slow gin. I've seen so many cocktails use slow gin, and I'm tempted to buy a bottle.
It's a pretty old school.
Yeah, I know,
ingredient.
like a flavored gin, but I mean,
It's a British gin, right? So,
but I don't think I'll like it. You know, we don't have a lot of it here. I can get it, but there's not a lot of different brands. But
I mean,
I just don't think I'll like it.
Dave can attest to this because he has the Heyman's too. The Heyman's, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. The Heyman's is good, but you got to get the
Yeah.
good stuff. If it's not that, it's gonna taste like a hard.
yeah.
See, root beer
I
schnapps just seems like a bad idea from the start.
Oh my god, root beer schnapps is a thing. I've never seen that, dude. 20 fucking years, I've never seen that.
Man.
That's got to
I've
be
probably
something.
got half a dozen
because you were
slow gins
lucky.
back.
So Andrew, do you have what's your like
A disappoint-
hyped up? Yeah, hyped up
Yeah,
disappointment.
I was thinking,
bottle.
I couldn't think of something in particular.
Well, I can tell you what it was for you.
What?
It was the Campari. I'm sure you
No,
know
no,
the
no, no. Campari was never hyped.
I think he knew what he was getting into.
No,
Though.
no. And Negroni as a cocktail, everyone was saying Negroni is the best cocktail in the world.
Uh-huh.
And I tried real hard to like it. And I went to places that make good Negronis, that make interesting Negroni variations. And I tried, and it's just like, nah.
The first
Wait,
Negroni
Tim,
I
yeah.
ever had-
Tim, are you fucking serious, Tim?
Yeah,
You know what?
I don't. On Tim's point, Jin's point, on Tim's point, I got a bottle of Jennifer. Is it Jennifer? Geneva? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, whatever. Just
Probably just for you
Geneva.
at school.
Geneva. But I finally got a bottle. It was pretty expensive. I had to buy it from out of province, so it was a little more expensive because shipping. But to me, it tastes like a pot still gin. Like a gin that has a bit of that funk to it.
It's got a barley base, so it's not going to taste like gin.
Yeah, it's malty. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and it's got that. But I don't find it off-putting by any means. I think it's a fine. I just think it's like any. Because I've got one of our local distilleries in Ottawa. It's OM Craft Spirits. I have used a lot of their stuff in my videos. They do pot. They're Irish. They do Irish style stuff. So they have a pot still. So they make poutine, and they make they're almost. They've been sitting on their whiskey for almost 3 years. They're ready to unveil a Canadian whiskey, but an Irish style whiskey. So it should be interesting. But anyway, so they make a gin, and because everything they make is pot still, so they make a pot still gin, and it does have that funk to it because pot still tends to have, and pot still anything tends to have that funk, right? And so when I got the Geneva, because Geneva is pot stilled, it had that same style funk. So to me, it was like any cocktail that calls for a Geneva, just use a funky gin. You'll be fine. You don't need to get that spirit per se.
Yeah, but funky gin is not like it's not
a
an
light
easy thing to
malty
find.
whiskey.
I guess, yeah. What's that?
Do a split with a light malty whiskey or a gin that's been aged in an ex-whiskey barrel.
Yeah, see, I would. Yeah, see,
that's
exactly.
true. Yeah.
I say the first one is probably easier to find. Like
Very easy, yeah.
Vice, like even a young unaged whiskey will probably work.
Yep.
a lot of local, like the thing about like the reason that gins and vodkas are plentiful in local distilleries is because if you're starting up a distillery and you want to make a rum or you want to make a whiskey, you have to. You start your business today, you can't sell a product for a minimum 3 years.
Yep.
So
you gotta do
unless you're
vodka
sourcing, unless you're sourcing, but then you have to write that you're sourcing, so then it's not as authentic, you know. So a lot of distilleries start up. They start making their whiskey. They're going to sell it in 3 to 5 years, but in the meantime, they got to make some money. So they make vodka, they make gin because it's so easy. You know,
yeah, I mean, man, it's a perfectly sound business model. You know,
oh, for sure, and
especially,
but that's why there's so many vodkas. That's why there's so many vodkas and gins available because it's so easy to make. Whereas
with vodka,
whiskey,
it's like whatever. But I tell you what, though, man, like some of your local gins, because of the whatever the botanicals they're using, could be super interesting. I mean, look what
absolutely.
But
because it doesn't, but because it doesn't require aging.
Array of gins. I mean,
absolutely.
Andrew, you probably tasted a bunch of them, no?
Now, there's an interesting one out of Quebec called Ungava. It looks like piss, like it's piss
Ungava,
yellow,
it doesn't look like piss unless you have like a disease or something.
No, but it's a bright yellow.
It's a bright yellow. Crap.
It's a bright yellow, but
it's out of Quebec. It's out of Quebec. It's really nice. I don't have a bottle anymore. I ran out of my Ungava, but it's a very popular in Canada. Do you have one?
Hey Dave, what is it?
No.
Dave, is it aged?
That one doesn't look. That one doesn't look yellow though.
It doesn't look.
Is that the ginger one?
I've had it so long. No, I brought this one from Ontario with me.
Oh, so wait, it's been exposed to sunlight.
Nope, it was never exposed to sunlight.
No, Dave, why is it not yellow?
Dave, is it aged?
No.
No, it's
so
not
what happens is it's aged.
They use something in one of the botanicals caused it to go yellow.
Yes. So what happens is it goes very bright yellow, and the bottle that I have, unfortunately, is no longer bright yellow. The flavors are still good, but it's like other flavored gins that I've come across. If they sit long enough, because maybe it's something that you don't have a great call for. It's not oxidizing. It just the color seems to start to leach out of it for some reason.
Got it.
For some reason, I'm not. I don't know why, and I know there's some science.
I think is it saffron? I don't know.
I don't think it's saffron. It's something off the Ungava Peninsula in northern Quebec.
Because I've got an Old Tom gin from actually the same distillery that makes this Juniper's Wit. They make an Old Tom gin, and theirs is red. And the reason it's red is because they're using locally grown sumac. So they're putting that in and the sumac is making it red. It's really nice.
So, hold on, real quick, Andrew, what have you've had Steve stuff? What have you had from him?
I've
because you went to the distillery, right? You actually went to the distillery.
Yes.
No, I haven't been to the distillery.
Here's the Old Tom. It's really nice.
I thought I saw a photo of you guys together.
He was here for a gin event.
Okay.
So I've had their Mediterranean gin, their coconut gin.
That's the one I really want.
Coconut gin sounds awesome.
Coconut gin, it's awesome. any recipe any kind of tropical recipe that calls for white rum, put this coconut gin in it, and it's
how do the botanicals work with the coconut? It's like such a different flavor profile.
It is. Well, it doesn't taste very much like gin, quite honestly. It's like this nice coconutty flavor. The coconut is kind of overpowered.
Does gin legally have to have juniper? Yeah, it has to have juniper. So I assume the coconut kind of overpowers the juniper then, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It basically
that's based on the amount. It doesn't specify how much juniper.
No, it's just got to be there.
Yes.
You know what's super popular in Australia? Gins finished in red wine barrels.
Okay.
So the gin ends up red. There's a distillery called Four Pillars that got bought by one of the global companies. These lads who started,
I feel like I've heard of that.
Ago, they got a $10 million payday each because they got bought out for $100 million by one of the big international companies. But they did it first because they're in wine country, which is about an hour away from where I live. Yeah, it's wine country. So they got some ex-Shiraz barrels and aged their gin in it. And it was just super popular. They called it Bloody Shiraz because it's so blood red. And it was so popular. basically half the other gin makers went, oh shit, everyone wants red wine gin. So now everyone's got like a red
I think
wine
Steve
gin.
has one too. I thought I saw one. Like I think he.
Yes,
Steve has one.
they have a red one. Actually, I'm gonna see what I actually have.
My mom drinks like nothing but Australian Shiraz. that's her thing.
Who's next? Who's next to make a cocktail?
Yeah, are we on to our last one? I think we all made two.
Yeah, we're on to our last one.
All right,
Last round.
Dave, is it up to you?
Yes.
See,
What are you making,
we were
Dave?
talking about Jennifer's
I
substitutes.
do believe I'm going to break down and have a Jack Rose.
Jack Rose.
Ooh, that's a good
This
one.
is
That is a
actually
I have not
it's
had
great.
that since I found my first bottle of Applejack like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's a nice little cocktail.
This is I really like this cocktail.
Yeah,
It's
great.
Sorry, is
yeah.
it lime or lemon? I wrote lemon. Maybe I feel like it's lime though.
I think it's lime.
Yeah, I think it's lime. Are you making those lime or lemon?
now I gotta
Pretty
look
sure
it
it's
up.
lime. You know what it is? There's the Jack Rose and there's the Jersey Girl.
Yeah, well, hold on. I can figure that out for you right now. Give me 2 seconds.
What grenadine are you using?
I'm just gonna break down and use good old roses.
Roses?
It's just-
Roses.
It is lemon. It is lemon juice, by the way.
Oh, it is lemon juice, really?
Yep.
I thought it was
It
lime
actually
juice.
says either one. You can use either one.
Oh, okay.
Now, and I like the lemon juice in it better, and the reason for that is it's a little softer. right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because sometimes I find that lime will be a little sharp, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
or at least it makes sense. It's the way it works, the way lime works for me, right? But one of the things I really enjoy about this is just its flavor. You get the apple, you get a little bit of the sweetness from the grenadine. I should have made some of my own grenadine. I just, for some reason, been bothered. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use up the bottle that I have, right? Because I don't waste anything. And for that, something that's really important for anybody that's home bartending, look to the eye of wasting nothing. Because if you think about that, you're going to find all different ways to use your ingredients. Like, look at Andrew. Andrew played with everything that you could possibly play with to get yourself some interesting flavors, right?
Here you go, Tim.
Look,
Right
I'm
there,
not
brother.
having a heart attack like I did in one of my last videos.
That is the best bottle you'll get from Laird's. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
In a coupe?
Can only get the basic Laird's here, actually. Can't get the good ones.
Which one? The Applejack?
Yeah, Applejack. You can't even get the bonded in bottle one here.
No, that
so-
sucks.
Yeah, that's the thing about. I mean,
The bottom bond is
I-
pretty hard to find even here.
I was able to find the Applejack like back in 2020. I have not seen it since. However,
even
I-
the
I-
Applejack?
yeah, it's not available here. But the Applejack, but I didn't know at first. It was the first apple brandy I knew about, so I just wanted to get it. However, I found out that it's Applejack is apple brandy diluted with vodka.
Yes.
Whereas the bonded is straight Applejack.
Yeah.
So I've said, since figuring that out, I've stopped trying to hunt Applejack, and I just buy locally produced
brandy.
apple brandy. And
Yes, I mean, the Applejack was created basically to appeal to the American palate when it had changed to a vodka, because vodka got so big at one point that they basically did that so they can appeal to the crowd.
I'm-
You guys
I'm
have to
gonna do a
imagine.
quick- I'm gonna do a quick
Canada has some
shout
pretty
out.
good apple brandy, no?
For a
lots.
Canadian distiller. This is Gagetown Distilling Cidery, and they do a fantastic apple brandy, and they're right by the base. So it's absolutely.
I've got two here. So I mentioned OM Craft Spirits from Ottawa.
Yeah,
So they did an apple eau de vie. So eau de vie is brandy that is unaged. So they did an apple eau de vie, and then they aged one for 1 year. And this is their apple brandy, and it is really, really nice. And then this one I've also gotten for quite a few years. This Spy Distillery. They're near Toronto, and they're an apple orchard, so they make just plain apple cider.
Oh, yeah.
They make hard apple cider, and then they make apple brandy, and they make pear brandy, and great products. So yeah, I mean, if you live anywhere where there's apples, you're gonna have people making apple brandy somewhere. So find some local distilleries.
I love apple brandy.
Yeah.
Now, and
It's
also
great in the fall. It's amazing.
And Calvados is amazing too, but it's a different apple. It's a different style of apple.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're both really, really good.
I've had
So Dave,
Calvados, and
tell
it's
us about
just
the
as good.
Jack
Yeah.
Rose there, Dave.
Yeah.
You know what? You get the apple, you get the brandy. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, the one thing most people don't realize about the Applejack is it's actually a little harsher than a lot of apple brandies. It's something you have to remember. The lemon juice is right there. You get a little bit of that grenadine because you only got a half an ounce, so you're going to get that sweetness in there that just sort of cuts it. It's a good cocktail. It's nice. It's clean. It's simple. It's refreshing. And you know what?
So I would say to our sorry, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
okay.
Dave.
Just if you're going to try an apple brandy cocktail, this is definitely worth trying, right?
Absolutely.
Yep,
Yeah,
I agree.
and to this comment here, as I mentioned, Applejack, it's universally known, but like I mentioned, it's the straight out the generic Applejack is actually diluted with vodka. The straight bonded one, which is like only available in the States, it seems, is pure apple brandy, and that one's much better. So I would say in Quebec you can get Applejack, but I'm sure you can find a lot of local apple brandies. Try them out; they're probably great.
So Rob, just for a little clarity though, Applejack is not always the blend.
Yes.
That's called Applejack blended some shit. There's also
That's the stuff that we had.
There's
Okay.
there's Applejack brandy, like the actual.
So it's pure brand. It's just not bonded, right? It's pure.
It's not bonded,
Okay.
exactly.
So
Yeah, this
the
is
one that I was able to get for a little while, not anymore, but
the one that you see in most
was the
places
blended.
is the blend. But
Blend.
if you go to the actual distillery, you can get. They have like 10 different versions actually of the Applejacks.
Yeah.
And
That's-
the bottle and bond is the one you might see too in stores. But at the distillery, you can find actual Applejack, which is
yeah,
made
so-
like the old style.
So to spin and manip. So yeah, I'm sure in Quebec there's probably many distilleries. I mean, obviously you got to try them out. Some you might not like as much as others, but
yeah.
I'm sure local orchards that make apple brandy, they're going to be probably fantastic.
Yeah,
Biggest
for sure.
thing
So
you can
give
do
it a try.
is first support your local distilleries, right? Absolutely. Because you're going to get
And a
some
lot-
interesting flavors. You support them. They they
Mhm.
pay their local
Yeah.
employees.
Yep.
You get to try new things that are fantastic. You can go anywhere and get something like Courvoisier,
Mhm.
but Courvoisier.
Or Dave,
Lo-
to jump on your point, even
Yeah.
if it's not your local distillery, if it's
Yeah.
if it's just a local distillery while you're on
Yeah,
vacation.
absolutely.
Like, so whenever I take a road trip somewhere, I always try to pick up a bottle from somewhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also,
Absolutely.
the name
Support the
will
sponsors.
trip people up, right? The name will trip people up because you'll see a lot of cocktails like the Jack Rose, because it's called Jack Rose. It specifically calls for Apple Jack. But you can use any apple brandy. You can use Calvados. You can use a local
Calvados
apple
would be
brandy.
fantastic. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, speaking of local stuff, and that's not from where I am. I'm actually my next cocktail. I'm making the South Side, and for this I need gin, and I'm actually going to use this fucking awesome looking bottle of gin that Iceman sent me from Revivalist. Dude,
Cool.
the cap is a hose like knob. It's pure
That's
metal. and
hilarious.
everything.
That's amazing.
So
I want
cool,
it.
right? Look at that. I love this. This is a really
That's
awesome
wild.
bottle. Really cool. And the gin is really, really delicious too. Shout out
I
to
love unique bottles.
Yeah.
With
And then you get
with
lots
one
of
exception.
Is that
With one exception, the worst bottle is Chambord. Stop it.
The little round one.
You-
Yeah, but it's unique.
You are
know?
ruining everyone's liquor shelf
Look
with
at
your
this.
stupid round bottle.
Hey, it's beautiful and round. And here I am trying to. Hey, Chambord.
I'd rather have that on my shelf than one of those
What?
tall ass like Galliano.
Galliano. I was about to say Galliano.
True.
That's a fucking pain in the ass.
I mean,
What the
for
hell
me,
shelf does Galliano fit on?
I can only get the 375 Galliano, so it's not that bad. I've heard the other ones.
That's
even
the one I have,
like-
but I can get the big one.
So when I measured, because I built my shelves recently, when I measured my shelves, I used the Luxardo Maraschino as because that's my tallest bottle. I use that as my baseline. I'm like, if that fits, everything else will fit.
That's not the tallest
But-
bottle I have.
But apparently the large, the 750 Galliano is taller than the Maraschino.
It's such a
but I don't
pain,
have
yeah.
that one. I've
The
only got the
Maraschino
375.
bottle at least looks cool, though. I love the straw basket.
It does look cool. It does have a
But
cool
you
look.
know exactly what you're looking at when you see it, and that is smart marketing in some ways, right?
It's like,
Because-
Another annoying one. I mean,
Back to the bar and go, I
this
can
is
touch
one of
it.
my favorite rums, but it's such an annoying bottle to have on the shelf because it takes up so much room.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what?
I've yet to replace mine. Because
That one's almost empty. I've also got this one I mainly sip on, but I've got a Eldorado Madeira cask, so it's aged in Madeira
But
wine.
what is everybody's oddball bottle? So when I say oddball bottle, I mean strange shaped bottle that really makes you kind of go, really?
Chambord. Chambord is the stupidest bottle. I hate it.
You know what's a weird shaped bottle, but I love this stuff? Is the Angel's Envy bottle, man. This
Angel's
is a
Envy.
weird-ass
Angel's Envy is
bottle.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
I mean, it is gorgeous and it is delicious, but the bottle.
Dude, I bought the rye back in June. I still
it's a
haven't
great
opened
bottle.
it.
Rob, are you
bottle.
serious? Can you crack that open tonight? Come on, bro.
All right, you want me to do it right now?
Oh yeah, it's delicious, bro.
Let's do it.
Two weird whiskey bottles. This one's from a local distiller that specializes in rye, and they
I
use
also
square
I have
bottle.
the bourbon. The bourbon's great.
And this one's just weirdly tall.
Oh yeah, wait. Tim is right. This is my weirdest bottle.
Which one?
Old Monk.
Oh, yes,
That's pretty
rum.
cool.
This is some
That's pretty
weird
cool.
ass shit, dude.
But at least it's not obtrusive on your shelf, though.
Well, it's also
yeah.
not very good.
I guess the old Crystal Head vodka. decanter.
Yeah, Crystal Head. There you go.
That's pretty cool. If you want a bottle that you can brain somebody to death with,
They're cool bottles, though. Really.
the Wiser's bottle they did for their aged lineup. Like, I love the bottle. It's a big square bottle. Absolutely fantastic.
I love a square
I love the
bottle.
spirit. But it's even when I look at some of the others that are close, they're not quite the same size or shape or something. It's just, and I'm not talking about weird wacky packages like the horrendously expensive tequilas or stuff like that, but something that just catches your eye and you know exactly what it is when you're looking at it, right? It's
Yeah,
just-
you know, that's a good, bottle like Amaretto is this bottle is unlike.
I like that
anything.
bottle. It's not
And
not
also-
obtrusive. It looks nice.
oh yeah,
Frangelico.
but
I
it's
mean, that's
unique.
got to
Yeah.
be one of the most. The Mrs. Buttersworth bottle
Yep.
is.
but it's good. But it's good stuff, and you know exactly what you're going for. And when you're walking down the aisle, especially if you're in a rush, you're gonna go, "I want this thing that I like." Right? This bottle.
I thought is
like-
Frangelico not a cream liqueur? Does it not have to be in the
No,
fridge?
No,
no.
that's not. It's not.
No,
It's not?
that is Amarillo.
That's what I'm mistaking with Amarillo. Okay.
So
So
let's-
yeah, do it,
South
and then I'll
side.
try the south side.
Yeah, that's delicious stuff. That's delicious stuff. It's almost. It's like it's like a daiquiri.
Yep.
A minty daiquiri. It uses gin.
Yeah,
obviously.
if you add soda water to it, it turns into a Southside Fizz, which is essentially a gin mojito.
which is I think is what it started as.
Yeah.
And then the bartender started removing the soda from it. This is a good cocktail. I love this cocktail. It's one of my favorites.
Ooh, the Mandarin bottle, which I haven't.
Yeah,
been
I've
able
got
to
it.
get. That
I don't
Mandarin
have
bottle that you have, the Mandarin
I've got
Napoleon.
it. It's all bumpy and weird.
Yeah,
but
it's
at least
not-
again, it's not obtrusive on the shelf. That's
Yeah,
to me
we're
that's
just
the
talking
biggest
about,
annoyance.
I think right now we're just talking about cool.
But it is
bottles.
pretty cool. It's kind of like the like weird glass you see in like a church or something like that. Weird
Yeah.
bumpy glass.
Oh
It's
yeah,
kinda
no,
neat.
absolutely
here's-
fantastic.
Here's something that's not necessarily a cool bottle, but the fact that it comes in a leather satchel is really cool. This is it's called Pampero. It's a Venezuelan, I think, rum. Is it Venezuelan?
Well, it's like all the plantation rums that have that little
Yeah, it's
like,
Venezuelan rum.
string
Such a
around it
cool
or
little
whatever.
bottle, and it's the it's embossed and everything like that.
Oh, that's
Hey,
pretty
It's a
cool.
really cool.
You know what that reminds me of?
Crown Royal.
Crown Royal and
Ah.
their purple
Boo.
dice bag. Every D&D player has one of those for their dice.
Let me tell you something.
honest.
So when Dave, when I did
I
events,
like me some
Dave,
D&D.
to order cases of Crown Royal for a certain client that was
Yep.
their whiskey. Man, the bartenders used to love those bags. Man, they used to all take them home with them.
So, this is a local gin from Reed's Distillery in Toronto, and I got their Navy Strength gin because I was looking for a Navy Strength. But it's again just a weird, like it's a big cube,
Chunky bottle.
big chunky bottle. Yeah.
So Dave, that's what I mean, Rob. That's cool because my bottle is similar. Look, this is speaking of vinegar. This is a Boomsa, and look, very similar bottle, very diamond-y.
Yeah.
So
All right, I'm
what
gonna-
did everyone say is their favorite bottle? What's your favorite looking bottle that you own?
This one again. We're looking at weird ones. Let me find my favorite one.
Yeah, like what's your favorite bottle period that you just love how it looks?
I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do love the Four Roses single barrel. That's a beautiful bottle.
Yeah.
And I love the cork too. The cork is just this nice big wooden chunk.
I gotta tell you, I really love this, man. That cap is incredible. The fact that it's steel, it's metal, it's steel.
Yeah.
There's a screw in it. And then the bottle has got this beautiful frosty finish to it. This is awesome. Look at this thing. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna crack open this Angel's Envy rye finished in Caribbean casks.
Cocktail. But you know what? I like a well-designed bottle, and for example, a little bit of Suntory, right? Nice. It's rectangular, fits easily on the shelf.
Suntory's nice. Suntory's a nice bottle.
Fantastic whiskey, in my opinion, right? But I like things that are just you can pick them up, and your hand fits good around them, right? So even one of Vino's favorites, of course, is bourbon, right? And he likes Bullet.
Bullet specifically, yeah.
Looks old time. Looks old.
It does. It looks like medicinal.
The Bullet
It's almost
bottle,
medicinal, right?
The Bullet bottle. Speaking of Prohibition stuff, it looks like an old.
Yeah. So, but if you look at Redemption bourbon, visually on one side it's like that, but it's concave in the back. It actually makes it a little easier to hold.
It's like a Mickey.
Yeah, it's like a big glass Mickey, right? But it's a full size 40 ounces.
So this is Vino. I tried it.
Kraken has a cool bottle. Kraken's cool too because it has it looks like an old rum bottle from a pirate ship.
I've got a Mexican rum that has that.
I don't even remember what this thing tastes like.
Now, one of the favorites that we can't get in Canada would be Mr. Black.
Mr. Black.
Look at Mr. Little Black.
I got one of those little bottles.
This is my Mexican rum, El Ron Prohibido, and it's got that little handle on it.
Oh yeah, just like the Kraken. That's cool.
You're right about Spirit of York. Those are really good. That is something I wish I could get my hands on up here.
So, little aside here. So this Angel's Envy rye.
Oh, you cracked it.
I cracked it open. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan, and I know Vino, you're a huge fan of whiskeys aged in Caribbean rum casks.
Mm-hmm.
So you get like amazing tropical notes and brown sugar on the nose, and then it is a 50%. So it is pretty. It's kind of peppery and spicy on the palate, but then it has that bite because it's 50%. This is nice.
Yeah. You had it? You already said that? Oh,
I did. Yeah.
What's the mash? Do you know does it have you have to know the mash bill on it?
The mash bill? Does it say it on it? I don't. Would it say on it?
It might not say it on it. No.
I was just going to say in the chat, Deanna was asking for suggestions for a black drink. Just get a dark rum, like Gosling's.
What do you mean? Where's the?
Yeah. Also, like a lot of people use the charcoal to.
Who's asking for something?
Halloween.
Diana.
Where am I saying? Where's Diana?
It's back.
Deanna. They've been saying a couple of things about.
Yes.
Has to make a black drink.
If you like black rum, Gosling's rum is dark. There's actually a couple, some that will use a little bit of a dye.
Kraken. They all use artificial color.
Kraken,
dark rum,
Goslings,
or whatever.
Myers. Myers is probably like one of the darkest rums.
Yeah.
Hey Rob,
All right, guys.
we need to
So
make
listen.
a cocktail.
Yes, I'll make my cocktail.
Before we start calling it, we got to do our shot of something.
Well, I haven't made my last cocktail.
Oh, you didn't make your cocktail yet?
I haven't made my last cocktail.
Oh,
Make
man,
the
that's
last
good,
cocktail.
brother.
All right, let's make
I
the
thought
last
I
cocktail.
thought we were done.
I'm making the French 75.
Oh, that's a bad.
All right.
Ah.
Okay, so this is another great pro. What's
You
that?
know that
Go
that's
ahead.
the only prohibition cocktail invented in the United States?
Is it really?
Yes.
Well then,
And you should go for Jeffrey Morgenthaler's version of it.
what's his version?
Now, what he does is he uses he serves it over cracked ice.
Oh, interesting. I love Jeff. Man, he's the bomb.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna do it in a. I like in a champagne. I like in a flute. Something about a flute. I like.
Rob, you would appreciate this, Rob. So I took
What's that?
Jeffrey Morgenthaler's advice, and I'm using the cheese slicer for my citrus.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Fantastic.
This thing is absolutely amazing.
Yep.
It's
So, okay.
the
And you
perfect
don't cut your fingers
consistent
off.
citrus. Yeah, and it's a perfect consistent.
Oh yes, I
slice.
saw that. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. Because it doesn't bruise it or something.
Well,
Was
no,
that-
it's the way it cuts it. It's the way it cuts it.
Yeah, I mean, it just does it
you
so
get
well.
that
You
cut
won't cut
that's
your
always
fingers off.
exactly it's consistent.
All right. So the idea here is, I mean, if I'm making these on like New Year's Eve or whatever, and I'm in a hurry and I'm making lots of them, I'll most likely just build it in the champagne flute. But you really should shake the first three ingredients because you're serving it without ice in a flute, and your champagne hopefully is cold, but you want it to be nice and cold. So shaking is definitely a plus.
So Rob Ballas told his was it Billy Mays? Is it Billy Mays? But wait, there's more.
Well, wait, there's more. For $9.99, you too can have a Rob shaken cocktail. But for
Exactly.
the additional $9.99, Vino will tell you how it's made. And for that extra $9.99, David will smile while Rob is shaking.
All right, so we pour
That dude's
the
like done, man.
cocktail in. So we had an ounce and a half. I usually, when I make this, I usually just do an ounce. I do an ounce and then half ounce, but I got the specs online. Ounce and a half of gin, 3/4 of lemon and simple. And then I actually bought some little tiny bottles of champagne because they were half price. Because I guess they were left over from New Year's.
New Year's Eve, yeah.
But actual French champagne. I'm not
We don't get that.
cheaping out and using Prosecco.
You know
Hey,
what?
Prosecco's delicious.
Nothing wrong
There's
with
nothing wrong with
It's a little
Prosecco.
bit sweeter,
I
too.
love Prosecco.
It is a little. There's nothing wrong with champagne.
You
With
know what's
Prosecco.
really good too? Cava, Spanish.
Cava,
stuff.
yeah, Cava
Yeah,
is probably the sweetest.
That
No,
stuff's
but-
amazing.
But it's slightly dry. I like the Spanish cava, the one you can get.
Oh God,
the
oh God,
Frisiané,
no.
The Frisiané in the black bottle, absolutely fantastic.
I'm gonna forego. Usually, I do a long lemon, like you get the long lemon
think-
peel.
I think we're good.
You twist it around. You twist it around like a straw, so it has that little coil. You drop that in, and it looks really cool. I'm not gonna do that right now, but there it is, the French 75. I had a bunch of these at New Year's, New Year's Eve this year. It's a great.
So, Ed-
Who did that?
So,
I think
Andrew,
it's you would- I
what
think it's
black
you would make the
cocktail
75,
would you
Rob.
drink?
What's that?
See, my problem with Deanna's saying they don't want dark rum. Who the hell's making your life so difficult? Like, I want a black drink, but not charcoal and not dark rum. How about, kiss my ass?
Well, actually, since light, the way that light works, right? It's light bounces off of things, and then certain lights are bounced back, and then it goes into your eyes and the receptors. Blah blah blah. So my point: if you just turn off the lights, all drinks are black.
Okay, I thought you were going to say stab their eyes out for being so annoying.
That works too.
Oh,
But if you turn off the
Black-
lights, all drinks are black.
I mean, if she wants literally a black cocktail, it's gonna have to be a flavory of vodka.
not
Yeah, it's
necessarily.
gonna-
The black vodka is not necessarily flavored, but you can. I don't think.
Unless you just
Mr.
mix
Black.
like whiskey
I know, I
and
think
oil.
it's charcoal infused. That's all they do.
Actually, you
Yeah,
know
it's
the
got
best
to
way
be
to do
charcoal
it?
infused.
Serve it in a black glass. Then it's black.
Do Mr. Black, you
Ah.
know, something.
Mr.
there'd be some
Yeah, you
liqueurs that are
do a
very
really
black.
Mr. Black coffee
You can do a
liqueur.
good, you can do
Yeah.
dark drinks for sure. You could do
Yeah.
definitely like a black strap or Mr. Black or something like that.
You know, there's a couple that.
I mean, a plain espresso martini is pretty damn dark. It has a nice
That's
brown
true.
foam, but
Espresso martini's pretty black. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
an easy way to do it. Go look for Halloween cocktails, and the reason I say that, there's usually
That's
some kind
true.
of witch's brew or something that's usually black in color that you might use a little bit of food coloring to get.
hey,
the
if you
colors that
if you don't want charcoal, you could always garnish with some squid ink.
yes,
Yes.
You can do
Sorry,
something like
Brandon,
a,
Black
you can do something like a
Sambuca. Yeah.
creme de cassis or something like that.
Creme de cassis is pretty dark. Yeah,
It's pretty dark. Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to do an episode on like black cocktails. just like no colors allowed in this episode. There's black sambuca is a thing. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, black
So
sambuca is a thing. That's right.
yeah, absolutely.
Black
licorice.
recently. There's like a rum
Did
liqueur
really
I
Alchemix? Did Carl use squid ink? Did I miss that?
I wouldn't be surprised.
made. Oh.
Yeah,
I
Amaros,
mean, yeah,
Amaros, a lot of dark Amaros.
Amaros are black. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, most
Amaros,
Amaros are
yes.
black.
You know what? I'd have to go back and
Ramazotti
look
is a good
through
one.
some of Carl and Riley's stuff to see which cocktails.
Black
they do.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
The Black Manhattan
Yeah,
basically just
Ramazzotti
subs
is a
out.
really dark one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Black
like
Manhattan
Havana.
basically just subs
really dark
the
Amaro.
vermouth with like
I mean,
Averna
look how
or whatever.
look how
So
dark Ramazzotti is. That's pretty dark. That's
Yeah.
pretty dark.
Yeah.
So what are we doing for our shot, fellas?
Yes.
squid ink Demerara. I'm gonna
Squid ink?
have
I don't
to
think I have
check
any
that
squid ink for a shot.
out. No, I'm
What are we
talking
doing- what are we
about.
doing
Iceman
for-
says Carl did that. Well, it's
What
got
are
to
we
have
doing for-
Smith and Cross, right?
Okay, for all of our viewers,
Smith and Cross and
what
yeah.
shot?
Smith and
should
Cross
we
and
try?
something.
It's always Smith and Cross with something. Everybody in the chats. What should we blend with Smith and Cross for our shot?
Fernet Branca.
We
No,
did
we
that
did
last
that.
time.
We did
That
that
was
last
week.
time.
That was last week.
Come on,
Last
Dave.
week. Last week.
Last
month.
week.
Oh, last month. Okay. Apparently, I'm getting old timers.
How about if you want to go crazy? How about Smith and Cross and absinthe?
No.
Oh.
That's a weird one. That's a lot. I mean, I'll do it if everybody's in.
I don't have enough to do it. Like, my bottle is almost completely empty, and I'm trying really hard not to. Smith and Cross, please send me some bottles, please.
Why don't you use
I have
another
no
rum then?
bottle
How much
to,
absinthe do you have?
Do you want to do a modifier or do you want to do another high proof spirit?
Nothing too
What do
bad
you mean?
because I got.
Amaro d'Angostura. I love that one. That's a good. But we
I
did the
don't have
Amaro
here-
with.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't think everybody has a model.
Yeah. Well, plus we did Smith and Cross with an Amaro though. So
Okay, Deanna, because Deanna could not hear the question. What do you, the viewer, think that we should do as a shot? Because at the end of every one of our lives, as we do as a group, we try and come up with a shot of something.
I
Whatever those
like this
ingredients
one.
are that we try.
Oh, okay. So overproof rum. We could use 151. Everyone's got 151. Well, no, anyways, but overproof rum with maple syrup.
I can do that.
That'd be an interesting shot.
I got some Rand Nephew. I don't have any 151, but I have some Rand Nephew.
Hey, that's high proof enough.
Is
Yeah.
it how high proof is? How
So
high
are we doing that in?
Ray Nephew's like 70.
63.
No,
actually.
63.
Are we doing a different high proof rum, or is it that other
So
high
no
proof
more.
rum?
So no
and
Smith and Cross.
I guess no Smith and Cross. We don't have to do Smith and Cross. We gave them their shout out. I'm gonna do if we do like half. I got lemon heart 151. If we do half lemon heart and half maple syrup, that'd be an interesting shot
151.
with
All
a
right.
little dash
If
of Asian
everybody's,
one.
if everybody's game on
Or
151. I'm-
Brendan's saying, how about this? Okay, so we either do the
Remember-
maple syrup thing, or
I'm
Brendan
not
is
a
saying
151, so I can't
a
do it.
big pour of Peychaud's.
I don't think I have enough for a pour.
Okay,
Canadian maple syrup.
I've got some
Hey,
whiskey
you have
barrel
maple
aged maple
syrup
syrup.
next to you? Nice.
I'm Canadian. I have maple syrup, I have bacon, and I have plaid. Come on.
Are we garnishing our shot with bacon? I've got some whiskey barrel aged maple syrup. Is that what we're doing then? The high proof rum with maple syrup?
I have bourbon aged maple syrup. Let me go get that.
Ooh.
What? You don't have maple syrup? Well, you know what? It is kind of cold in my basement here. On my set, it is like 15 degrees.
Is it that cold?
Yeah, it's the way they designed the house that I'm living in. There's a cold air intake, but it doesn't go directly into the furnace. What it does is it kind of opens in a little filtered ball, like canister, that just drops cold air in here. So
Deanna wants to just light it on fire. Do you think it would? I mean, the 151 will hold a flame, but if we dilute it with maple syrup, it might not.
Well,
no,
navy
the maple syrup will
navy
sink to the
proof
bottom.
means it should light on fire.
Yeah,
And I don't have a lighter. Do I have a lighter? I do.
But that's what I'm saying. Is the 151 will light on fire, but the maple syrup might dilute it, and it might not.
Yeah. But I also don't know if I want to take a chance.
Oh, I'm going to suffer for this for my.
This is a brand new bottle, right, guys?
Oh, he's opening. What's that one?
All right.
What you got
This
there?
is made in Queensland. This is a 151 proof rum.
Nice. Okay, so we're all doing what I got. Lemon Heart 151. So we're all doing a what do you have a Ray nephew? He said.
Yes.
When the bottle has
Right.
that kind of nozzle, it's not usually a good idea. Not usually a good thing.
I've taken swigs of the Lemon Heart. It's amazing because it's really like it's brown sugar. Like it really has that sugary taste. So you take a swig and it's like the brown sugar hits you first. You're like, oh, it's not that bad. And then that alcohol hits and you're like, oh. It's a really interesting sensation.
All right.
It's not
All
good
right,
for
so then we're going with
my boyish figure here to be drinking syrup at the end of the
So
night.
then we're doing the maple syrup. We're doing half, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be awake for the next hour, guys.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. Here we go. Half
Hold on,
151 and half half maple syrup.
Set it on fire.
You know, look at that though. Look at that though. The maple. I don't know if you can see the division, but the maple syrup is sitting on top. So I feel like it's gonna be like, ooh, super sweet, and then oh my god, this hurts.
All right.
I
think
think
Andrew lit his on fire.
so gross.
Andrew, blow yours out before you burn
Oh,
your
you
lips.
lit it on fire?
Yeah.
That's
You did it?
awesome.
Mine on fire.
I don't have a match here. I don't feel like
Yeah,
running
work her
upstairs.
out. God damn it.
Hold on, let me see if I have
his
fire. Let me see if I have a
because
thing.
Oh, I don't have a lighter here.
Mine
Yeah, I'm
won't
gonna have
light.
to go try. Let me go try.
Mine won't light because I've mixed it very well. While we have this interlude, you should thumbs up and like this video on everybody's
All
channel.
right, I'm on
And if
fire.
you're not subscribed to anybody here, make sure you subscribe because every single person loves to have you here.
Absolutely. Oh yes, Deanna's doing the cinnamon thing over the top. I love.
Fire!
I should have done that. It's too late now, but I should have done
Yeah,
All
that.
the problem is you might not
I found a
yeah,
torch.
You should be able to see that actually.
The problem though is that my I feel like my maple syrup is sitting on top.
It's not. Trust me.
My drop. There's no
Okay.
way it's not the same viscosity.
But it also has to do with temperature too.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of a flame there. There we go.
Yeah, I have.
You
You're,
see
you're
that?
gonna have to blow yours out because it's gonna burn your stash hairs.
You ready, guys?
Yep. Sláinte.
To everyone that joined
Cheers.
us tonight, thank you so much. Cheers.
It's lunch, guys.
Oh,
Ooh, my glass is too hot. I had to burn it.
Ooh.
that is.
Oh, that was good though. That was a good shot. That was like it's strong but also very sweet.
Oh.
Oh.
Ah.
I like that.
It
Oh, that was
good-ish.
that was really good.
Who
Because it like
recommended that?
you do get the two sensations. You get that super strong rum, but then you get that really sweet maple syrup.
Oh wow.
Oh damn.
Good suggestion.
Question
Christian.
is,
I think-
would
I
that
think it
would
was-
that
I
have
think
been
was
a
Matt. I was mad.
question
right?
is would that have been a prohibition thing?
No.
Probably
Well,
not.
the maple syrup would have masked bad rum.
There you go.
Yeah. That's why you made things that look like tea.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
So,
Glad
Vino, do you
something.
want to close it out for us?
Yeah, listen, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. It was a great time. We will see you guys again next month. We don't have a theme yet.
Next
but
month.
We'll be back as always. And remember, folks, when life gives you lemons, you make yourself a cocktail.
A cocktail.
Cheers.
Cheers.